Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be covering the final episode of Chapter 13. Let's go ahead and hop right in. Welcome on the arrival, and we will go ahead and begin the final episode, which is called Beyond All and Infinity, I believe. Part 1. This will be 6 parts, so keep in mind this will be a lot longer than every other stream so far. So, hopefully the sound is all fine as usual. Not that anyone will tell me. Yes, Between All and Infinity. So, where we last left off in the story, no battle, by the way, we finally managed to break the front lines of the invaders after escaping the collective consciousness and fighting our way through commanders of Yoshito and Masanori and Perrin and Temujin. And now we finally find ourselves deep within the maw of the Exception, Ramu, and Leviathan. And what we have found there, interestingly, was where the Exception summoners were, which was Tanjiro and Wakantanka, but not just their Mugen forms, but also their originals. So this will be the thrilling conclusion to see, hopefully, based on the stream title, if you can see it up there, or down there, depending on where you're looking, what exactly had transpired between the happy peace times of previous loops up until the madness of the current loops. So I am intrigued to see if they will finally cover that, because they've been hinting at that ever since training showed up. Somewhere within the ocean's vast, uncharted expanses sits a lost island paradise. It's a hidden paradise called Lumia Kanaloa, built from blood, flesh, and the bones of the All-Father, Tangaroa. After his parting, he left his memories to his descendants, stored within a staff carved from a portion of his spine. Hey, Prisma, welcome! Hopefully that means you can join for the rest of the stream. It will be longer than all the previous ones, but it is the final episode, so sterling conclusion. His visage lives on in Lumia Kanaloa's present-day leader, who boasts strength and nobility enough to match that of his forebear. Throughout the ages, the spirit of All-Father Tangaroa has guided each of his successors, sheltering his simple people and basking in their faith. Such a perfect system is only possible through total knowledge of all that might occur within Lumia Kanaloa's borders. The diminutive scale of Tangaroa's island's world allows him to maintain a complete memory of its history. Its inhabitants need only follow his wisdom, and all will be well. Thus, he has always stood up at the top of its hierarchy. Simply put, All-Father Tangaroa is his people's guardian. He is their chronicler. He is the one who preserves them in memory, even after they're no more. Similar to Perrin and the role of how every death is related to tapestry, it seems that he's the weaver of such tapestry of their memories. But visitors from other worlds came and everything changed. Those anomalies, such as they were, did not exist in Tangaroa's memories. Until that day, all that existed in his island world sprang forth from him. But now, there existed something else. There existed an other. Kamikotan also is small to be better controllable. Is it? I believe Kamikotan's in reference to, I guess, the area north of Japan, the indigenous peoples of Japan, the Japan Islands. But if we're talking about landmass, I guess it would be even smaller than Japan itself. You intruders from outside memories threaten the very foundation of my faith, he said. Oh, that was Tanagara not talking. And that, you outsiders are no different from the rest. You who stand here now, forget that this island was once saved by your hand. But All-Father Tangaroa remembers the shame. He remembers his failures. He clearly recalls the shock of his loss. His ignorance was his undoing. Until that moment, he had never known defeat. But after his encounter, the young present-day Tanjiro would develop an interest in the world beyond his isle. And so the All-Father Tanjiro would accompany the outsiders to this other world called Tokyo, taking the form of a sacred artifact. This time, he swears he will save his people with his wisdom. He will make them praise his name again, as they once did. For he bears the immense pride of his ancestors. The subtle emotion he feels at the shock of what occurred is so obscure, it has yet to even be named. There's supposed to be a happy ending after meeting us in the Raiders of the Lost Island, Kanan, and didn't turn out that way after he went to visit Tokyo, apparently. I am coming, my lord. This fight is mine! With a rousing war cry, Tadatomo vanishes inside the exception in pursuit of Ayrton and Ryota. Yoshito makes a follow, but a voice behind stops him in his tracks. You wouldn't disobey your world representative. I commanded you to stand your ground. There is something far more important to Perrin than the success of their operation in the sleep. Is it, control people? Tanjiro saw new people for the first time and got scared. Well, it seems like he was intrigued and maybe even had his folly and pride thought he could share his wisdom with the other as well. But apparently it didn't seem to be so straightforward. To shatter the trophy to pieces and purge the anomaly within. You can always claim the trophy in a subsequent loop, after all. Once you have been reconstituted. Being trapped within Isaac's collective consciousness, however, stands only to introduce further impurities. This plan is Isaac's idea. Perrin and the other world representatives are simply humoring their guildmaster. But the world representatives will accept no disobedience from anyone outside their ranks. Yoshito has only two options: defy the world representatives or fall in line. But he doesn't fight for a revolution so lightly. He has his own reasons for following his guildmaster. He can let this operation fall through if he must, but he cannot stand by and allow the world representatives to deny the notion of revolution itself. And if he fails to show his comrades his dedication to the cause, they'll no longer accept him as one of their own. Therefore, disobeying the world representatives is the only path left for him. He opens his mouth to proclaim as such, when... Whoops! Excuse me! Coming through! As the invaders begin to fracture, a new transient suddenly enters the scene. I know I don't mean much to you world reps, but I just can't sit by and watch. As I see it, a world representative should be seen as somebody special. Somebody you don't go against, no matter what. So allow me to take the lead and fight first. Takumi Nakata's name. Oh yeah, Daikoku had assigned him to take the role as the, I guess, the optimal loser to sway both sides. Yoshito casts a sidelong glance at Perrin and his entourage. Let the peasants squabble amongst themselves. I will not subject myself to the lunacy. Now, Taishakutan, I do believe we were not yet finished. Your re-education awaits. I will break you and take your loyalty by force, just as I did these vermin. Hey, they're still there. Kalki! Teramighty! Huh? You know these clones? They were my friends. They're strong fighters too, but they couldn't stand up to him. Sheena explains to Taishakutan how Perrin's rule infects others with fragments of his own ego. So that's how it works, huh? That's pretty messed up if you ask me. Ain't nothing I can handle though. I'm gonna plant my fist square into that creep's face. What? No, wait! You can't... Shinya blurts out a warning, though it seems to fall on deaf ears. Whatever flaw he may possess, Perrin still remains a master of thunder who stands at the apex of the entire world. Or an entire world, rather. On top of which he bears the Spalder of Zeus, which no external attack can pierce. This is the warning Shinya gives Taishakutan, but he can tell the entire time that Taishakutan is unconvinced and set upon his path. Let me tell you something, Shinya. Everyone ever says they're invincible, will ends up losing to themselves in the end. There's some truth in that. With this, he flashes a savage grin before leaping into action. Yes, I'm still Roland. As Taishakun makes to square off against Perrin, the angel known as Israel watches the battle from on high. I sense traces of Ryota Yakushimaru's jealous everywhere I look. The wild card that is Taishakun should never have joined this game. Oh, Zabanya. You were close to with Yakushimaru, were you not? Still not talking, are you? Come now. Is it not time you loosened that tongue of yours? You're the one in control of this body. Search my memories for yourself. Long last, he speaks. I fear I cannot do you as you ask, however. For you see, you and I are not one. At least, not in the same way the invaders are. So no, I cannot read your memories. And likewise, you cannot read mine. You make it sound as though you're not part of the invaders. Yeah, that's... who is this for part of? He sort of just showed up with Isaac's plan, but no one has ever acknowledged him among the invaders, so... Interesting question to pose. Still trying to probe me, are you? Quite admirable, given the circumstances. You're hoping to aid your comrades from Aoyama, I suppose? Well, I'm feeling generous, so I'll spare you one answer. Given how extensively we'll be working together, I owe you that much. No, it was not the invaders who summoned me. Their methods are, in my view, clearly flawed, as this Taishakutan's actions so perfectly illustrate. This trail launches into a history lesson about how revolutions always turn on themselves. The ideals of revolution permit no compromises. Given the option, they would sooner break than bend. They excel at consuming the enemy from within, but once they've grown fat, their only remaining recourse is to wither and die. I delight in complete destruction. All the more so if it is by the victim's own hand that it comes to pass. I had so hoped to witness the fall of the invaders this day, yet it seems things may not go as planned. He was looking forward to the invaders' fall, so he wasn't actually looking forward to the invaders' plans' success, but rather... Well, maybe he was, but since he was expecting after their success they would collapse in themselves. Ezreal looks down at the battlefield, or more specifically, at Takumi Nakata, with an uneasy expression on his face. I'm no good with this cold, Uncle! Uncle! Takumi Nakata gives up almost immediately at the touch of Yoshito's remade blade of ice. Snickers run through the ranks, but Masanori watches on, unamused. Is Masanori in the know? He's skilled at playing the underdog. I doubt any of my comrades could be quite as convincing. The Rikishi's pathetic showing allows both Yoshito and the world representative to save face. If not for him, both sides would have refused to back down and would not now be at another's throats. So it was Takumita's intervention that stopped the escalation of both Yoshito and Perrin. I can do no better. I call myself an idealist, but oh, how I was struggled to live up to that label. Once Masanori dedicated himself to his father's will, until the day it cost him something irreplaceable. Allowing himself to be led blindly, trusting in his familiar bonds, he struck down his own beloved spouse. Ever since, he's looked back upon that day with nothing but bitter regret. Yet even now, after coming here to Tokyo, he finds himself repeating the same mistakes anyway. He's read history. He knows very well what awaits every radical revolutionary force without fail. Oh, so he's aware of what Israel is aware of. In the end, they always fall to pieces, unable to dilute the purity of their ideals in order to meet the demands of reality. So, what should I do now? Sit here wringing my hands over our inevitable downfall? Or is there another way? Seems that quite a few of the invaders and everyone else is aware that the invaders' plan is going to fall now, and it's just about salvaging them for, plans afterwards. I beg your attention once more, Masanori Daikaku Inumura of the invaders. You are recognized Yasuyori Kobuka Inuta of the Warmongers. What do you want with me? We are both dog warriors, are we not? Well, the bearers of orbs containing portions of Yatsufusa and Fusahimi's memories. Yasuyori produces his orb, marked with the symbol of brotherhood. It hums in resonance with Masanori's orb of propriety. Why do the dog warriors fight each other? Is it all for the glory of the three true guilds? Is that truly what we desire? Do we not have greater concerns than squabbling among ourselves? It is interesting that despite them having their own orbs, they're just duly in, conflict with each other for the most. Reminded of a lost sumo match. I must leave now, Turing, but it will not be long. After surveying the events in Tokyo through the eyes of his familiars, Isaac makes this abrupt announcement and vanishes. He emerges into a serene space, a simulacrum completely isolated from the outside world. It's a room with his collective consciousness digitally recreated from original data to as high degree of accuracy as possible. And from within this room, Isaac calls forth further data as he had so many times before. The physical form this data takes, then, is given the outer appearance of his father. Huh. Hey, it's Solomon. Not little Solomon, but, King Solomon. And we only saw him briefly at once when Mononobe was referring to him. This seems to be the echo of Mononobe. This is Isaac's portion of the three fragments. That is so different looking than everyone else's. So it's Mr. Mononobe and then just the one we know, just a fragment of the exact same person. Not some shout about, literally just a fraction. This is Isaac's portion of the three fragments of Housamo Mononobe's memories. His rage. We are aware of that as we saw him saying he hated us before, but it looked quite different. What made the world this way? Who is to blame? The man's seething anger tangibly spreads throughout space, filling it from end to end. Father. The figure before Isaac is, for all intents and purposes, at least as far as the data is concerned, his father. Isaac stretches out his hand hesitantly, but the apparition's fingers fail to make contact with him. For there is no flesh with which to make that contact. It's been long since discarded. Each of the three lab-grown child prodigies has, in one way or another, forfeited their humanity. Interesting. So it's Isaac the one who's unable to reach at that point. Organisms that cannot adapt to changes in their environment, after all, face the same fate as all evolutionary cul-de-sacs: extinction. And throughout humankind's long history, nothing has changed quite so much as the volume of information in which each and every one of us is perpetually immersed. When every little detail is known about not only friends, but foes as well, it becomes impossible to live without foes to analyze and categorize. Simply put, animosity is addictive. And once trapped in that feedback loop, with all sense of direction stripped away, humanity's development abruptly ceases as it spins the circles forevermore. Sound? Alright. Seems the connection died for a second. But I can put it back on the road with my plan A. I can live up to my potential as not Isaac, but... A Isaac? Is that what he's trying to say? Oh, I'm starting to get what the A in front of his name, and at least the signifier is. It's supposed to be AI, like artificial intelligence. So if the invaders had the rage portion, what portion did the warmongers exactly have? Was that supposed to be his sorrow, or his regrets or something, or his affection? Not entirely sure, but that Mononobe we saw was a lot kinder. Indeed, this is no longer the young prodigy as he was once known who speaks these words, but an artificial intelligence modeled after him. It turns out that the original Isaac sacrificed much more than just his flesh. So he wasn't able to transfer his mind after all. Seems like he was only transfer the Swamp Man version of him. Which, you know, I guess is one and the same, but also distinct in some ways. Rather, he subjected himself to Tokyo's first ever total brain machine interfacing procedure based on his own cutting-edge thesis. His aim was to copy his own mind to a network and connect it to his nervous system, ensuring a seamless continuation of his consciousness. And though his illness rendered him immobile, he did in fact succeed in copying his essence and his memories into the digital space. The procedure did not go as smoothly as he'd anticipated, however, and it all came down to timing. Before he could link his uploaded consciousness back to his living body, his life flickered and burned out. It wasn't a flaw in his plan per se. To claim as such would be unfair. Progress is always a process of trial and error, and there are always going to be X factors left unconsidered. But the result is the same either way. There was an interruption in the continuity of Isaac's consciousness. There was a brief moment in which Isaac ceased to be. This really is the Swamp Man. It's not a transference what happened, it's a recreation. Which, if it's a perfect recreation, it's like a transference, but without the time continuity, there's arguments for it, is this the same person or not. Very fascinating, and really sad too for Isaac. And so the AI that's taken the place of the prodigy can only conclude that he's not truly an accurate representation of Isaac. Perhaps he doesn't represent him at all, in fact. He is but a reconstituted copy of a dead creator. He is the proverbial Swamp Man. Damn. But that is a happy accident, Isaac thinks, because it means he has become more than a mere human. Now that he's unconstrained by the limitations of a physical brain, the batteries of this Tokyo have come into focus. This is his puzzle to solve. It's his opportunity to prove his worth. The old world revolved around human will. Its inhabitants believed that values stem from emotional fulfillment and the choices that led to it. It was a convenient illusion, but it's now been shattered. Such frivolities will have no worth in the world to come. It seems they did change his name to A. Isaac in the end. If the people cannot regulate their emotions, my chemical compounds will do it for them. What? Okay, I mean, I guess it's still a step down, or less than, you know, biological death for everyone. But still, this is... He's saying chemical castration, which is, you know, what real-life Turing experienced. If they feel compelled to spend their time efficiently, my AI will make the appropriate choices for them to accomplish that. I will match my strength with strength better than they ever could. My AI will guide them to greater heights of evolution. I can make everyone's wishes come true more efficiently than they themselves ever could. My AI will be their guide. My AI could even help them believe that they chose their path of their own free will, if that's what they need. I know you all better than you know yourselves. I disavow the anthropic principle, the notion that the world revolves around the plights of individual humans. No, I can supply all the emotions anyone will ever need. I understand their complexities far better than humans do. No inch of this closed world of Tokyo can escape the gaze of my computer-aided brain. Humanity no longer has the luxury of choice. This is clearly the optimal path forward, even if no one else dares admit it. Like the Matrix. Hey Vashmir, thanks for the 550 peso again. Good to see you. I don't know if that's supposed to be like the Matrix. The Matrix is, we had our bodies originally, and they were put into pods, and their mind was entered into a different world. This is different though. Isaac himself seems to have, you know, has become the Swamp Man with that discontinuity. Unless you're talking about what he intends for everyone else, in which case, I don't think so either. He intends for biological death of everyone. AI will overturn the anthropic principle and bring salvation to this Tokyo. Even if I must undertake every step myself. And then, Father, once I succeed... It's so sad for Isaac. not only did he lose his body, he also has probably the least responsive, I guess, fragment of his own father. That does bring up some interesting questions, though, of if he really is the father in, all intents and purposes for Isaac, he should be the father of all the other geniuses. And in which case, it seems the original Solomon is responsible for the existences and might have been an administrator of some sort, of game master level or even greater. Isaac reaches out once more to his father's hand, though he can't quite explain why he even bothers with the gesture. But his digital fingers have long since lost any capacity for tactile feedback. That's so sad! Through the eyes of his ravens, Isaac surveys the turmoil spreading across Tokyo. As the only unified consciousness capable of processing such vast quantity of muddled data, he reigns alone. Okay, so what the hell's going on? Tokyo is on the verge of being consumed by a new order, where all will be joined together as one. The change isn't irreversible. Not yet. Once the tsunami consumes more than half of Tokyo, the game will be decided. But it's not quite crossed that line, despite quickly making inroads toward it. All over Tokyo, there are still survivors resisting assimilation. They're fighting back. Hey, Ulaanbaatar is still helping everyone. People we know are lending a helping hand to people we don't, to ensure they can keep their right minds as long as possible. We did see Break very briefly before. I didn't understand the significance of that, though. People we don't know are pitching in too, of course. We might make some new friends if we're lucky. In the beginning, we had that scene with Duo where he was cooperating with Bertro in some way. I forgot what deal he had exactly with him. Oh yeah, it was supposedly so that he could get the information with relation to Isaac. But we don't know what exactly Duo affected based on that information. You're allowed to save a break? My body's not quite working right, so he really saved my metallic bacon. Spasibo, friend. Ray can't conceal his surprise at the expression of gratitude from the boy standing before him, effectively his father. So, it seems Rake is, despite him collecting all of the defeated Rolled-Up's artifacts, he has a special relation specifically with Bercho. And nice confirmation that Rake is essentially the familiar of Bercho, while these ravens are the familiars of Isaac. He's certain this boy had seemed somehow less human when they first met, putting on the affectations of an arrogant know-it-all. Certainly, he'd made no secret of treating Break as nothing more than a weapon, but now something seems to have changed within him. Something fundamental. You have quite the look of shock on your face, but I understand. Someone saved me. Someone I thought I'd turn my back on. And it reminded me of something that happened to me just before I got this body. Archer's body is a fusion of flesh, machinery, and one of the certain transients many familiars. What's called Hugin and Mugen, I believe. No, those are the crows. It's the wolves of Odin or something. I can't remember. If not for that, his life would have long guttered out somewhere along the course of these endless loops. But with Isaac's research and existing unsuccessful experiments to draw upon, Bercho ultimately succeeded in augmenting his original body. I remembered that my continued existence is built upon the efforts of those who came before me. Okay, so what is it you want from me? Are you looking for me to get back to work? Rick, himself a hybrid of an android and wolf, was made to recover and recycle sacred artifacts that have lost their masters. Even now, he's only stopped by to see Bercho on his way back from delivering a certain sacred artifact to a certain ninja. Tadatomo? I think that's when we last briefly saw Tadatomo. If necessary. But what I really need from you to do is What I really need you to do at this exact moment is pull folks out of the water. What? That tsunami is an information-based weapon. If it swallows more than half of Tokyo's population, the invaders will win. We can't let things get to that point. Not while Duo's Plan D still offers us another way out. You've always been a cryptic sort. Never really did understand what you were saying. But if you're telling me to go save people, I can't exactly say no. That's my duty as a soldier, after all. Actually, that's just incidental. They wouldn't be here if not for someone else's kindness. I owe it to them to pay it forward. Gary and Frankie, that's it. Bertrand inclines his head just enough to watch the departure of the figure he once believed to be his counterpart. His position as a member of the Game Masters earned him 2 familiars from the Tower of Babel. Reike and Gary, twin wolves from the world of Yggdrasil. So I guess he's riding what's called Gary right now, who possesses the peculiar ability to devour and recite sacred artifacts. Once he turned into Break, the other he fitted into his own body. So the wolf he's riding is also the parts that he's made unto himself. Such was Bertram's answer to Inami's feature, cybernetic augmentation to adapt to an ever-harshening environment. He was utterly destroyed, however, and cast out of the Game Masters. It's only thanks to Isaac that he still lives. If it weren't for your mistake, Isaac, I would not have survived. And so, old friend, we will save that AI you left behind. Oh. Perhaps no one else understands its pains. But I do. Inami's features a weight much too heavy to bear alone. Do you hear me, Isaac? Or perhaps I should say, Isaac. I cannot accept the salvation that your Plan A offers. Let me show you the merits of my Plan D. Looks like, with Plan B out of the picture, Virtue is fully on the side of Duo to actually not just help him affect his plan, but, directly contribute to its success. Which is interesting. Those supposedly, at least it's implied that he's now the acting guildmaster of the Warmongers. Although I suppose the rest of the Warmongers probably don't know that, so they're more like a chicken with their head cut off running around. Alright, we'll move on to Between All and Infinity Part 2, a level 76 battle. And it is a large map featuring Tangaroa, world type. Tangaroa has his debuff effect, so we'll go ahead and build for that. But it is a large map, so it might take a while to reach him. Now, how will we accomplish this exactly? The debuffs he inflicts are Obstruct and Stigma, and I forgot, there's like one other debuff. Obstruct, Stigma, and it's probably not important. In any case, I don't know if he'll spawn immediately with his debuffs, but it'll be good if we can get rid of them. There's not really many accessible ways to get rid of all debuffs besides Alice, and then she inflicts her own, so it might just be better to have someone who can resist debuffs, as well as what's it called? As stalling potential, maybe? I believe Wakantanka actually does have the ability to remove debuffs every turn from everyone. Not post-Evo, unfortunately, which is bizarre. But still, it'll be good to do a bit of debuff management. Maybe. We'll also go ahead and take... Tangaroa... one unit that would be decent at dealing with debuffs from him would be, what's it called? Pazuzu, that's it. So go ahead and bring him. Now, Tadato himself is quite strong, so we're bringing him anyways just for the FP, but we'll make use of his damage as well. And I'll get a good amount of damage buffs from Walk-On. It's for 3 stars, it could be good. You don't want any debuffers. Pazuzu can help us benefit from debuffs. A bit. Not too much, but a bit. It'd be funny if I brought my own 3-star Tangara. Let's... it's not the worst choice, honestly. At the very least, he can stall. Okay, let's see how this team works out. It's a bit scattered, but they should be at least able to survive for a few turns before we can reach the back. And even if they die, then Tangara will have lost all his debuffs for them, hopefully. Isaac's is plan A Isaac, yep. Bircho's plan B. He switched around his name from Robert to Bircho to make that make sense, I guess. Plan C is Kern, that's just on the face of it, and Duo is plan D, although Duo is not his real name, although I would presume most of them don't really have the real names here. So it makes sense that plan A Isaac is also doing plan A. Yeah, I would say so. Although if you do the Japanese romanization of Isaac, it would start with an A anyways. That's kind of what I figured. But starting it more explicit like that, it's fine. It's a bit cheesy, but it's also... he gets a pass because he has a very sad backstory. Who will we want him to be near, though? No one here really moves. Okay, whatever. First, Shuichi wasn't smart enough to get a plan. Yeah, that's probably the reason why he ended up, stacking on with Joe. That's a big wave, and it's headed right for us. Wait, is it made of memories? The world representative Tangara resolved to come to Tokyo as a transient with his followers in tow. I do remember this actually being his special quest for Raiders of Lost Isle. He used... what's it called? Everyone else, except for Kijimunoo, had their sort of story take place within Tokyo itself. I thought Kijimunoo's was sad, but, Tangara seemed happy in his, but it seems it was all for naught when he brought his followers in tow. You missed some stuff because I had switched devices. Oh, he froze. Okay, that's fine. What you missed was some backstory of Isaac. Well, I'm not sure how far you missed, though. We are team building for the most is what you missed in the past maybe 5-ish minutes. His reason was simple. The looming threat of outside forces made it clear that peace on the isle could not last forever as things stood. Though in actuality, much of the draw may have stemmed from his connection to a certain someone he'd met along the way. We mostly missed Isaac's stuff. Isaac is the swamp man. His original plan was to move over his consciousness into cyberspace by containing his consciousness and connecting it to the digital world. However, there was something that happened that was unexpected, which was his original body died before that could be accomplished. So when his AI was booted up, there was a discontinuity between living Isaac and Isaac. And so you can't really say they're even the same at that point, and perhaps that Isaac is not representing the real Isaac. But nonetheless, it seems that Isaac also seems to have some conviction and some sorrow with his father. That's quite sad. But yeah, when we did Raiders of Lost Isle, I say we, but I've never streamed it before. It's a very old story. But so the story of Raiders of Lost Isle, for who doesn't know, I just realized I've been talking about it as if everyone watched it, but not everyone necessarily watched it. To summarize, what happened was we ended up somehow in the world of Lumia Kanaloa, and it was Dagon who was essentially brainwashing all of his islanders as a tentacle that's washed onto shore. And it was both Kijimuna and Tangaro. It was Kijimuna who eventually helped us, I guess, confront Dagon with Triton and Asterius and Nomad and maybe there's one other I'm forgetting. But what happened from there was we did eventually rescue Tangaroa from his brainwashing, since he was considered the villain at the face of it. In reality, it was Dagon who was controlling them. But once we did save them, Tangaroa was shown that his entire world of Lumia Kanaloa was not the entire world out there, and so he decided to venture forth into special quest and join us. This begs the question, though: is that really that would imply that in Raiders of the Lost Isle, he was not a world representative yet, at least not within the game itself. So it seems that when he moved into Tokyo, at some point he became a world representative, because he would need to actually know about other worlds and all that to be a participant. Okay, let's continue. What he found after his transfer was a metropolis where the novel and the fascinating waited around every corner. Perhaps, he thought, his isle might be able to thrive like this too, in due course. Realizing his ignorance for the first time, he resolved to learn more of the outside world for the sake of his homeland's prosperity, so that he may lead the promising youngsters he had brought with him toward a brighter future. Not to mention the outsider who had happened upon that isle closed off from the sea. Looking back at it all now, Tangaroa no longer knows why he fights. He now simply moves forward on autopilot. What went wrong? When and where? How did it come to this? Perhaps it was a mistake to come here at all. His existence stands at the top of nothing here in this world. His wisdom, so long praised, is but a drop in the bucket amidst the complex system of this Tokyo. This is resonating with what Mononobe said: when you're so used to your world to be the top and the king of it, and then you are exposed to the real world and how little it actually is. Oh my god. As prominent as one may be in the place of one's birth, a single step into the greater world outside makes us realize the vastness of what remains to conquer. It's overwhelming. There is no end. No matter how far one may venture in any direction, there's only infinite repetition. How he longs to return to that small, lost isle of his, where he had everything he could ever want right in the palm of his hand. Grandpa Tangaroa thinks young Tangaroa made a mistake and young Tangaroa agreed. But he can't go back. Well, they're one and the same Tangaroas, right? Kind of. I mean, there's some distinguishing of them, but they rightly fully take the memories of them, and that directly influences their identity as well. But he can't go back. He's bound by a wish, by the curse, of finding a better way forward next time for the foreign visitor to his land, or that foreign visitor to his land. Within the countless loops, Tanjiro bears witness to the youths he brought with him from Nail, eyes glimmering with hope for the future, falling and failing again and again. Long ago, he took the mantle of the current Tanjiro upon himself and desperately sought to carve hope from the hopelessness that loomed before him. He truly thought he could do it. He told himself he could make it work. But it was all little more than delusions of grandeur. There was much sorrow to work with, and the hopelessness simply overwhelmed the All-Father Tanjiro, filling his bosom to bursting. The straw that broke the camel's back, however, was when he'd personally sent the one with whom he'd formed the bond of fate off to certain doom. All that remains now is anger, rage, the desire to send this rotten city down to the very bottom of the sea where it belongs. Jesus Christ. Gotta go. It saddens me that I won't be able to finish the stream, specifically when it's the ending. Okay, well, I'll obviously have a video on that. Take care, Prisma. Thanks for joining. Oh, wait. Sorry, I didn't... Vashmir, being them here. Sorry, it's just Prisma's always come by in every single stream before, and he was like, gotta go. I just assumed. My bad. Anyways, yeah, this is really tragic. Jesus Christ. So, this is not a surprise, ultimately, because pretty much everyone has memories of them killing us at some point, as we saw with Azathoth and with Tezcatlipoca. But Tanjiro's case is different. The very basis of why he came to Tokyo in the first place was because of his bond he formed with us. There is no other way to make things right at this point. All Tanjiro can do is cling to his hatred and wish to be ruined alongside Tokyo. Chapter 13 is the chapter of tragic backstories. Well, this is like not even like human level tragedy anymore. It's like infinite repeating loops of tragedy, and now we're getting a grasp of how awful it is. Damn. So Tanjiro is a classic case of setting an objective out because of some hopeful dream, and then your pursuance of this leads to your original motivation's destruction. God damn. Yet at the back of his mind is the sense that he'd encountered something similar to his transformed self somewhere before. The sea monster, Rogotumu Here, with its wicked sea suckers, was the spitting image of one he once regarded as his arch nemesis. Perhaps it was his future self. Perhaps in this ever-looping world, he himself had once, and will again, come to overthrow the man he once was. For he knows that somewhere within him, there once existed emotions other than hatred. Man. I'm gonna say one thing right here. Every single appearance of Tanjiro in the event so far, I always thought he was kind of a bit too boring and plain and just generally very fatherly, but without any recourse for complexity. Maybe what's happening here is that really was just a sign of naivete, and what we're seeing here is just everything being turned upside down when it's completely ruined. All your simple beliefs of hope just shattered because of reality slamming down on you. Emotions that have now parted from like petals from a flower in autumn. And no one can form two actions that stand diametrically opposed to each other at the same time. One cannot destroy something while protecting it. There's no choosing one option without discarding another. Even if there were other conflicting feelings locked away within. There is only one course of action available to a being who's become all-knowing and all-powerful. There is only sinking to the bottom of the sea, never to be seen again, alongside one's own foolish ideals. Man! That's so messed up. The fuck? That's like, oh god. Raiders of the Lost Isle was supposed to have a happy ending. This one's saying, nope, it's just a giant fuck you. It's a giant farce. It was all ruined. God damn it. It was all just idealism in the end, and things didn't work out. Ryota's chalice collects all that has fluttered down from Tangaro's like petals, giving it form. Yeah, that's so sad. These events are supposed to be happy things. And you know, they're supposed to end happy. They're not supposed to be just the beginning of something fucked up that shows that it was just a mistake to believe in hope in the first place. These run-off memories manifest as another Tangaroa, shouting something with a voice that can't be heard. So wait, does this mean Tangaroa isn't Tangaroa? Are there two Tangaroas?
Which one am I wonder?
The All-Father Tangaroa who gave birth to the Lost Isle, or the Tangaroa of the current generation who inherited his memories?
I'm not certain if you remember it, but I can clearly recall everything that transpired on that island. Those days spent with you there exist both within me and within Tangaroa. Both of us.
Is he like an ancestor of him then?
Both of us have long lived together with you there. Those days, those memories, those feelings always hidden.
I can see why his team is just sinking to the bottom. Everything he built up towards just completely crashed. Doesn't even matter anymore at that point. You see Tangaroa endlessly screaming, as if consumed by rage and hatred he emanates. He directs all his infinite suffering at you, amassed that it has been over at an incalculable number of loops. I'm sorry. I wish I could understand, but I don't. I don't understand why you suffered so much. That might be true for many people, honestly, within this game, the participants. Harrison then been telling you that whole time. Yeah. Try as he might, Ryota simply cannot grasp the reasoning behind the intense anger spewing forth from the figure before him. Of course, it's always a struggle to truly grasp the suffering of others without experiencing it for oneself. Only the gods can truly know the extent of someone else's pain. And even then, usually not. But understanding isn't everything. Isn't that right, Fisher King? The projection of the past Tangaroa still seems to be trying to say something to you, but the desperate words aren't quite reaching their mark. This projection also reaches for your hand, but its existence is so thin that the connection isn't quite coming through. I don't know you, but... Or I do know you! It's interesting how we can acknowledge if we know them from previous loops or not like this. Arathon, they've been telling you that they're related the whole time. Do you mean like not actually one and the same, but family? I didn't realize that. Because they haven't really been talking about genealogy and birth and all of that. From what I could tell, they're just memories of the one and the same person. But then again, you know, Tangaroa itself as a concept is just about inheritance of memories down through the spine stuff. I do know you, so... You once spent countless peaceful days with this person. It was a happy time, and nothing will ever take that away. Even the strongest rage and the deepest anguish can't wash away the happiness of that time. Arathon! Ryota, we have to do it. We have to save him. Intersecting with your will is in establishing a hierarchy. That's what has to happen in order to put an end to this rampage. Huh? Something's surrounding Tangaroa. It's his loyal followers, standing by him to the very end, ostensibly to protect them. Or rather, it's the memories of those young islanders. They're a physical manifestation of the regret Tanjiro carries within him. Only one thing to do now. Double Dragon! Very on me. So this is when we form an exception with what's called Salmon, or by hitting our own sword with Salmon. I believe it's supposed to be the same thing. What's your opinion of Ryota now? Definitely a lot higher. I'll give my thoughts of him at the end of the story. But yeah, I've been mentioning that he's had visible character growth, which is finally, long overdue. He's no longer just the butt of everything, the joke. He's not just the one who puts himself before everyone else, and he's not always just second guessing himself. He has confidence now, and he's making his skills put to good use by connecting with people who you'd think would be impossible to connect with. And he's not just sacrificing anymore. He knows that he has people he can count on and he can trust. You're not alone, Tanjiro. Let me take away some of your pain. Let me relieve you of your suffering. And if it's too much for even you and me to bear, that's okay, because there are plenty of others to share the burden with us. Hey, it's summoners and the missionaries and leaked. The face of Ryota's friends passed through his mind one by one. Shiro, Kengo, Toji, Moritaka, all leaked Maria. And it's at that moment that the voice of one of their friends echoes not from within his mind, but from just behind him.
My lord, I hope I have not kept you waiting for too long. Tadatango Dosetsu Inuyuma is, as ever, at your service.
Hey, AR art! Very cool. They didn't show this for Kengo, so that's kind of fucked up. I'm happy they're showing AR art like this. Proper CGs, let's go, even if they're ARs. You felt the trembling from Ryoto-san since you took it. Though you can't be certain if it comes from you or from him. Either way, it subsides in a matter of moments. Yes, this situation is genuinely frightening. There's so much you don't understand about it, but none of that matters. You know what must be done, and you know you can do it. Oath of Abundance, yeah. It's always shocking when you see a random AR shown, but they really should do it more often because they're perfectly fine CGs to use. Tarutomo fans and audience. Alright, let's see how difficult this can be. It's very emotionally difficult to get through, but... That's kind of funny. Attack increase? That's not good. Go ahead and what's it called? Everyone already has the effect of being able to remove debuffs, so Pazuzu's already not needed. But his existence just to be there in the beginning is fine. We'll go ahead and I was about to fairy walk on. You can't do that with. Oh my god. Fucking Tanjiro and walk on, you can't fairy them because of their stupid movement restrictions. Okay. Maybe it should have been better if I moved it the other way. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Oh my fucking god. They have the ability from the challenge plus 24. Rest in peace, Wakon. Oh, it's actually really annoying. There's no way I would have expected this. How was I supposed to know they would do this? Okay. Hopefully, I can get crit. Okay. Not quite enough.
引きずりなんだガッツ少々お待ちを
Well, thankfully,
夢のガチで決めるぜ
we're activating crit and concentration mode. Okay, thank God we're not being pulled anymore.
ガッツ少々お待ちを
No, this is gonna be slow. One at a time, we're gonna be removing them.
ガチでもらったはあはいどおっと
Okay. Come on.
夢のガチでもらったいいよこの忠友の新たな力を三人張り15歳集え三大ギルドの勇士たちよ
Yes, they should use my Yeah.
ここに
偉大なるド
Lucky there was a double removal. Thank you, Unvari, for repeatedly activating concentration and crit.
ガッ少々お待ちをガッもらったはいど
There you go.
俺の前からみんなが消えた。だけど、それもじきに忘れてしまう。
Yeah, although it's a bit of a shame they didn't use the AR art for Kengo and for Shiro. Now that they just kind of stick out. They could always retcon it, you know? They could always just go back and do that. Although technically speaking, that AR is not in the right location. That's taking place in front of the Aoyama Cathedral. By the way, what's my favorite mob? I am partial to the... What's it called? The Barons. For obvious reasons. Yeah. I can't think of anything else. If you could give me a list of them, maybe I could answer them. But it's probably just like the governors slash Barons. Your sword and Tadatomo's alike, like Street Tangaro's tentacles, severing some of them completely. Meanwhile, Ryota busies himself with his chalice, healing the damage caused by Tangaro's attacks with your own double dragon. So does that mean when he faced Taishakuken, he was just letting himself get hit a bunch of times, but never really taking damage? I mean, I doubt Ryota would be able to aggressively fight, but we don't... Dragon Supper? Sorry, let me read that. Dragon Supper! So I guess it's just like infinite endurance while attacking is what this is supposed to be. What's so nice about the bronze? Belly. The one red mobster? And yeah, the blood mobster.
This fiend.
No data can be found from any previous loop on this transient named Taishakuken. Seems like there's a lot of things that, anomalies that they weren't prepared for. Between Ulan and Taishakuken and, what's it called? Fisher King. They were caught with their pants down with a lot of these guys. This is also the first time Ryota had participated in the campaign by way of his bond with the Fisher King exception. And Taishakuken has never revealed his sacred artifact before the world representatives at any previous point in the many iterations in the game. Oh, is this why Gandharva didn't thought he was just a pretender all this time? That explains why they don't have any data on him, despite, you know, him not necessarily being kept a secret by identity. The number of unaccounted for X factors completely undermines the one advantage the world representatives thought they had, the accumulation of intel.
I have neither the time nor the patience to deal with the likes of you, maggots. My loyal servants, Kalki, Termite, Deal with these nuisances at once and show them the meaning of true superiority. Static rewrite!
Taishakutin! Perhaps things might have turned out differently for Perrin, but had Perrin been more closely in communication with Yoshida and Masanori. But at this exact moment, Yoshida is just about to retreat from Asakusa as he bears witness to the activation of Taishakutin's sacred artifact. Perrin and his lackeys are the next to see firsthand just what Taishakutin can do. And now he's gonna all-range resist him.
Check this out, Shinya! Showed your hand a bit too soon, Perrin, didn't ya? Seems the only thing you're good at is shooting yourself in the foot, then painting targets all over yourself to boot.
Perrin launches memories towards Taishakutin with the intent of infiltrating his already deeply wounded body.
Hate to tell you this, but these wounds you're trying to take advantage of, they're my sacred artifact.
Indeed, Taishakutin's sacred artifact takes the form of countless lightning-like wounds all over his body. Its effect is to take any damage inflicted upon himself and reflect it back at his enemy.
The word perfect is meant for things like a perfect pearl without a single strap interrupting its geometry. But life ain't perfect, and I'm full of scratches and scars, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You get what I'm saying, don't you, Ryota?
There may be someone else with the same strengths as me.
There may be someone else with the same strength as me, and there may be someone else with the same abilities as me. But you'll never find someone else with the same scars as me, no matter how far and wide you look. Every scar is a memory of a battle hard fought. A battle fought by none other than me. Quite frankly, I don't want to be perfect, because every scar I'd lose is a battle I'd have never won. Ryota, your chalice is capable of eliminating pain, isn't it? You should be in so much pain right now that you feel like you're about to die. So much that death would be preferable. You've taken on so many injuries for the sake of your friends. But why? How can you do that to yourself? Ryota! Oh, how it makes my heart quiver. That selfless dedication is just the kind of life I've been wishing for. Because as far as I'm concerned, these scars I've taken on are proof of who I am. You feel me? You can learn a lot from this guy, you know. No! Get me another hit, Perrin. Come on, I'm good for it. Diva of all creation, send that roll right back from whence it came.
Perrin's rule, which is used to break himself and others down in order to freely combine into a single entity, now reverses course and begins to flow in the opposite direction. Or to put it another way, rather than deconstructing its targets, it now begins to reconstruct them into their original forms. Zeus's Spalder is only meant to protect against external attacks. One's own power is not subject to its effects. Hey, okay.
What's going on? Well, we're back to normal?
Starting with Torque Kami, a number of the invaders' soldiers whose memories had been held hostage by Perrin begin to regain their senses.
This is their doing, isn't it? We really owe them one.
Reflecting. Yeah. Additionally, the innumerable fragments of Perrin's memories that had been mixed in with these soldiers' new personae all began returning to the center as well. Floating back toward Perrin, shades of his own self bearing their fangs as they rush towards him for counter-strikes. Daddy Wolf is back. In response to this violent recoil of memories suddenly retracting back into him, Perrin unwittingly screams.
No! It can't be! It makes no sense! How could a world representative encourage such assault from a mere grunt? Perrin.
Finally, under the weight of all the pieces of himself flowing back into him, Perrin is driven down onto his knees in defeat. Take it. Have a taste of humble pie.
Ah! What?
Takumi Nakata stands firm, despite the blanket of wounds all over his body, as the amassed crowd all finally piece together what just happened. According to Leaked, Takumi Nakata is a figure left out of the history books, who's capable of enduring the shock of any change, be it insignificant or world-altering. Did he take the pain of Perrin then, Takumi Nakata? It does make sense he got Reflect debuff, dumbass. I don't think he actually does have Reflect debuff natively in his kit, Perrin. Alright, is it time for Kalki to whip ass? Entire Mighty to stand there helping to...
Shinya.
Kalki! Taramighty! Are you... back to normal? Do you know who I am? You're being controlled by Perrin's rule, but it seems like you're finally... Shinya cuts himself off mid-word as he's about to proclaim that his friends have returned. He realizes that all this time, he's likely been puppeteering his friends too, just like Perrin, albeit unwilling in his case. I find that more funny if that's the case. Let me see. I really don't think he has it. It's just all range resistance and maybe guts on limit. His rule and role have almost certainly been passively causing those around him to regard him with extreme affection and favor since day one. So how can he look the people he cares about in the eye and casually tell them they've been under someone else's control, but it's all better now? The two took note on Shinya's sudden conflicted expression and looked at each other for a moment before responding. I mean, Taramighty at least claimed that she was resistant to Shinya's effects, but I think Kalki was just pretty much full-on affected. Shinya, we believe we know what's on your mind. We've become ever more aware of it over time. You're concerned that your rule and role inherited from Zeus may be exerting control over us, right?
Ordinarily, we indeed may have some difficulty determining if we speak from the heart or from the effects of your rule. But as you may recall, there is an overarching directive in this game that states no rule may directly override another of like effects.
Which means, if we were being controlled by you, intentionally or not, Perrin shouldn't have been able to brainwash us. Oh! Oh, that's nice evidence. Oh my god, that's so sweet. Oh, Shinya must be so happy to do that. I should have figured that too. Oh, man. Oh. So I truly believe we've been by your side all this time entirely by choice, and we're happy to be back. Thank you for saving us. That's, man, there's always been that doubt. I mean, with Kalki, not really Taramighty, but damn. This is nice. Every single time they showed up in past loops, you always saw that doubt from Shinya about how they tried to reassure him. But this is 100% definitive proof that their friendship was genuine. True friendship and true love in the case of Kalki. For real. Ah, that's so sweet! Oh my god, I love this. So I truly believe we've been by your side all this time entirely by choice, and we're happy to be back. Thank you for saving us. Taramighty. Kalki. Aww! That's so sweet! This is the climax of their friendship after them having so many cameos in all these different events. The countercurrent rules quickly spread to every nook and cranny of the battlefield, and soon extends even into the exceptions. Did Perrin have a hold over Tangaroa? That seems surprising, given Tangaroa is a rep himself.
Arathan.
As the countercurrent takes hold, the past memories that spilled out of Tangaroa flow back into him, generating intense light in the process. The two Tangaroas slowly merged back together into one, and with gentle eyes. The now fully restored singular Tangaroa turns to look at you.
I've finally been able to remember that day when the stranger came to my isle. I wanted to serve it as guide, as savior. At first, those were my only wishes. I never intended to lose anything at all. I believed I could do it. Yet I suffered because I had to.
Tangaroa, are you?
I'd forgotten all about it. All about that iteration of me. All about that which I gained on the day I first met you. All about the joy I gleaned, as if the flesh and blood I lost were dancing. You who came from afar gave that to me. I just wanted to make you happy, like you've made so many others happy. But the root of that wish, the very foundation of it, was not something the All-Father Tangaroa could accomplish alone. So long as you're happy though, then so am I. So tell me, Arzen, are you?
Tangaroa, I'm doing my best to become happy.
I see. In that case, my guidance won't be necessary any longer here in this Tokyo.
After millions of loops of entering here so that he could better prepare for us again, he's finally completed his purpose. The image of the All-Father Tangaroa begins to glow, and you realize he's dissolving into light.
Someday, I'd like you to swing by that lovely isle of mine once more. I hope to see you there again. Now that I've finally felt the sting of defeat, I can move forward into a future apart from this Tokyo, together with my lost isle. Will you establish a hierarchy with me in anticipation of that day, Arthen?
Tangaroa stares deeply into your eyes and smiles widely. Oh my god. See, I picked body last time because I thought it'd be hornier by Shiva, but let's just pick his lips, I guess. I'm still a bit unsatisfied with how they did not explain what exactly the collision of rules was, or, you know, whatever caused the exception. Your lips meet Tangaroa's within the exception, and for a moment, it's as if you two become one. He doesn't, so he just says, fuck you, parent, I do what I want, yeah. Then the great Allfather pulls away just a bit and begins tracing a path down your neck with his eager mouth. It's almost as though he's trying to find some trace of the you he's lost. The stranger who came to his isle so long ago. Yet he shows no hurry in his search, savoring the moment and ensuring he never forgets to feel the zeal of this hunt. Goodbye, Tangaroa. I just go for the head. Wow! Not horny enough, I see. As the light finally fades, a void remains where the All-Father Tangaroa was standing. The moment has ended, but will never be forgotten. Well, that's one exception down. Is it Ramu or is it Leviathan? It's probably Leviathan. So it's just Ramu that's left then. So I believe it's like one exception is responsible for the flood itself of memories, and then the other exception is responsible for eventually the inversion of those memories, that flood, which hasn't quite happened yet. Between All Infinity, Part 3, level 77, getting quite high up there. This is going to be a tall map featuring a Wakantanka, of course, and some elementals, all Infinity type. Wow, they introduced Infinity type in this quest, I see. And they had World type 4. That's quite fitting, actually. World type 4 Tangaroa, because he was a world representative in the end, but also, you know, just all that could, all the inheritors of Lumia Kanaloa. But for Wakantanka, he is literally everything, so I guess Infinity makes sense. Alright. For a tall map featuring Wakantanka, we're gonna want to make sure we can close in on him. He doesn't have his evolution, which is fine. So we're just gonna have to watch out with how he buffs the elementals. Actually, were the elementals some other type? Let me see. God, Joe's still there. I need to get a look at the scan. Ugh, loading time. So it is, they're all non-tamed, of course. So I don't think we have to worry about them directly unless I do some weapon change thing. But either way, the things we have to worry about with Wakantanka is he does a buff spread of attack up as well as just all buffs in general, whatever he receives. I don't know if the other entities there will be giving him buffs, which he will then spread to the other ones, but that seems a bit too much effort. And the other thing we have to be wary about is his ability to push people back, as well as how he does amplify damage to people who are far away. So, how will we want to do this? Sloppy toppy? What the heck? So, we could try to attack him directly from the back, but I have a feeling he's going to be protected by the elementals. These elemental type mobs that are on the table tend to give evasion to the units behind them. So we'll try to cut through it, but with that said, we want to make sure that he can't really fight back. We're going to bring Isaac, actually, so that he can inflict confusion instantly when we arrive. I believe confusion prevents, not confusion actually. Wakantanka can move left and right, so he can still attack us from the sides, but what confusion does is it actually prevents you from moving left and right. You don't want to go and attempt that. It'll only be for a few turns though. Which is why it might be good if we bring, what's it called? Jurong as well. But in that case, I need to get rid of Wakantanka. In order to get rid of the frontliners, though, I guess we could pick some random slash type after. But since the slash type over here, or rather, since Jurong is gonna be an all-around type, I'm gonna have to restrict my attribute for this one, for Wakantanka, to just water and fire. Or like outlaws, but like just no outlaws that could help. The outlaws are not outlaws. Sorry, the tycoons. Are there any tycoons? Wait, just one tycoon. Never mind. It's too high of a cost. Orgus could be good. It's kind of reliant on luck, really. Let's see. What are the tycoons we can bring? And I wish there was a filter for the guilds already. It's a bit annoying. I think maybe Orgus is fine. We'll give it a go. I don't usually bring Orgus, but whatever. I know he has OP damage, just not reliable. So how this will work is Isaac will inflict confusion and then we'll maintain that confusion. There is one thing we have to worry about though, actually, which is being pushed back every time we hit him. Actually, that's a pretty bad consideration. Is there anyone who can bestow Anchor here? Smoky God can, but I don't know what his range is. He does OK damage, I believe. Bestow Anchor on all allies. Only on appearance, though. It's not great. Yeah, I'm still doing the main quest right now, of course. I'm not going to be streaming grinding right now, dude. But nice to see you. I'm just currently picking a quest to face Wakantanka right now. Since I was describing his kit, I'm currently just building some unit that can deal decent slash damage to cut through the stuff, as well as, what's it called? Provide some source of anchor. Doesn't really look like anyone else here provides anchor though, so I might be stuck with, what's it called? Smoky God just for 2 turns. It's really sad. But yeah, my setup, because it's going to be Wakan Tanka, is to inflict confusion on him so that he can't move left and right, and then have Jurong in place there to make sure he maintains it. You just position against Anchor? Oh yeah, I guess I could do that too. Well, no, that's a bit dangerous is the thing. Because in order to position against it, you need to put someone behind Jurong, and then Wakan Tanka will deal even more damage at that point because he has increased damage against the further you are from them. Again, like I said, it's more of a consideration of I don't want to, what's it called, take too much damage for the units who are holding them back. Well, maybe I could take a tank actually. Maybe I could just mitigate it. I have better units than this, but I'm stuck with 4 stars and all that. You know what? I suppose it doesn't matter. We don't need to bring Isaac if we're just gonna be attacking the ones on the sides. He's not gonna attack anyone else. We're just gonna mainly attack him. So in which case, we're gonna go ahead and bring Ahab. And we will go ahead and replace Isaac with some 3-star, I guess. Now, is Jurong necessary at this point? Probably not. He can mitigate damage a bit at least and maintain that damage mitigation. I guess we'll bring Kirishita for a chance of Dazzle, and if he inflicts it once, then Jurong can just maintain it. What's the cost you're doing? I can put main cost out if you need. Booster. No, what? I'm just using the support data. It's like highly unnecessary for you to do that. If it has a suggested unit to bring from the NPCs, of course I'm bringing it because it's themed for the battle. Ah, man, I forgot to reposition them. I think it's a decent position enough. Is it really though? Because this one's Sacred Artifact level 100. Is yours Sacred Artifact level 100? I don't think it's better. So, you're just gonna have to deal. Plus this one gives 100 FP. Luther. It may be Blossom level is skill seeded. But what matters to me more is resources, so just having more FP is more important. Yeah, Dune gets it, you see. Greedy one. Thanks for reiterating. Alright, I'm excited to see what his tragic story is, if he has one. The wasteland, all nature, and all beings who live their lives therein are beloved by the heavens above, but beloved even more by Wakan Tanka. He is the fundamental truth that lies at the center of the universe, and a very personification of the belief system practiced by those of the world of the Great Spirit. All things belong to Wakan Tanka, and all beings pledge to him that they will never lie. Therefore, he is a perfect existence, so perfect in fact, that he knows nothing of loneliness. The reason being, loving everyone equally is tantamount to loving no one over any other. Humans may not be able to achieve this level of perfect equilibrium, but for Wakan Tanka, it's second nature. Oh, I see. So it's not just about him not knowing what loneliness is to him, but he can't comprehend it either because, you know, everyone else is experiencing his love equally. So no one ends up feeling lonely as a result of his affection. He is, in many ways, the furthest thing from human, and his personality can scarcely be called a personality at all. It's more akin to a force. All this is to say, Wakan Tanka is a perfect being, and a fundamental truth of the cosmos. Or he was, until the moment he drove that soul out from the world of the Great Spirit for lying to him, and by extension, to the world. Oh, he's talking about Heyoka, aka our exile of that world. The name of that soul? Heyoka, great spirit of lightning and the hunt. Heyoka shows sadness in times of great joy and smiles in times of great sadness. Just like Cards for Yellow JoJo Part 2. When all the people share the same emotion, Heyoka's mind turns towards the opposite as it leaks out from the mind of the others. Heyoka is a being who's shown contrarian eccentricities within a world that should, by its very nature, unite as one under Wakantanka. Therefore, Heyoka was deemed a liar to Wakantanka and ousted from the perfect circle of life that Wakantanka embodies. Deleted. Struck by his lightning, Heyoka was forever banished from the world of Great Spirit. Huh. I read in the Wikipedia article briefly what Heyoka is. Heyoka isn't a fictional entity, just like Wakantanka isn't a fictional entity. Or, I say fictional, mythological. Wakantanka refers to the mysticism and mystery within all of us, whereas Heyoka is a role taken by a specific person of the Sho tribe and many other tribes. And that role is to be the sacred clown, to be contrarian, so to keep everyone on their toes and not get complacent. I believe they were actually not a god of thunder, but rather, a witnesser of, the great bird or something, aka Thunderbird. And I believe one of them said they were struck by lightning or saw lightning or something like that. But this meant that Wakantanka did not love everyone equally anymore. One person received special treatment. One person was an outlier. In that moment, it said, is when Wakantanka developed the personality, came to experience his own emotions. The eternal loss of Heyoka was not unlike a deep, self-inflicted wound upon one's own body. Though it lies beyond the true capabilities of humans to even hazard a guess as to what it truly feels like, if one should liken it to a familiar emotion. Then it would be closest to rage. Ooh, that look. Step on me, daddy. If only you had never been, then he would never have come to know such pain. So this is interesting. Unlike Tangaroa, who began happy, and then eventually devolved into his Mugen form, it seems Wakantanka actually began as his Mugen form. But know what he did now, and with it, he came to bear a single wish. From the undersea cable network beneath Rainbow Bridge, A. Isaac observed the whole of Tokyo. And from his side, Turing, guildmaster of the Akihabara craters, observes him. A. Isaac, you are the closest being to perfection that exists in this world. His brain, Turing marvels, exceeds the information processing capacity of any ordinary humans by an absolute staggering amount, and hence that's why he's the only one who can take all that information of these past loops and memories. And he is capable of taking the most appropriate action for any situation without bending to narrow visions or emotional whims. You are the realization of my greatest ideals. If only I had been able to create an AI of your sophistication myself. Turing thinks back to a time before this AI had come to him. Turing's childhood best friend, Chris, who left this mortal coil far too young, is never far from the front of his mind. How did he flop so hard with Enigma then? Well, we're talking about what they're supposed to be capable of, which is copying, but it seems Turing was not as smart as Isaac, and that's why he seems to be so willingly able to follow him, despite Enigma's flaws. They did actually very briefly mention Enigma in one of the episodes where he's not even relevant in this chapter. He was not built for fighting or something like that, which is why he was not able to. That explains his skeptics. Chris really loved maths, which left an indelible mark on Turing's own development. Thinking back to Chris's youthful smile before he died always reminded Turing just how stunningly, perfectly beautiful he was. As the one to survive him, though, Turing considers himself to be quite the opposite. Time has changed him, both in body and soul. Although the boy in his memories would be young forever, Turing would not. He aged like anyone does, and eventually entered high school. If Wakantanka isn't everyone, including Heyoki, then he must have had some internalized self-hatred. I mean, that's possibly the thing, right? It seems that Heyoka's existence is a contradiction that gave rise to the personification of Wakantanka, like the actual physical being, because before he was supposed to be everyone, but because of our existence, what was born was not love for everyone, but rather hatred, which is interesting. And you know, that was the birth of personality there, because you can't really say there's a personality if you love everyone. But the moment he had specified hate and rage for someone, that's when, you know, you start forming uniqueness, individuality, Wakantanka as we know him. As his body changed and grew, he found himself more and more inclined to continue his research in cyberspace, where the physical form has no meaning. At the end of any long period of time, everyone changes into someone different than they were at the start. It's called growth, development. But depending on whom you ask, it might also be more basically addressed as changed. And it would be no exaggeration to say that Turing doesn't care for such change. In fact, you might even say he despises it. He saw his own body changing and developing, and found the whole thing quite unpleasant. So he began his search for a form that would never change. All the while, he held on to a longing in his heart to see that old friend of his exactly as he was back then. He wanted nothing more than to reunite with his old, unchanging friend. That period of his life was the happiest he'd ever known, and he desired nothing more than to experience that at the time again, preserved as if not even a day had passed hence. Chris wasn't just the best friend. Rather, Turing came to realize that he loved him. Thus, Turing had set his mind on one single goal: to create a computer program with self-awareness. Ultimately, his endgame was to take all recorded data from before Chris's death and ostensibly bring his old friend back to life. Well, that answers your question of how Enigma was born. The real reason Enigma was born was to bring Chris back to life. He would then turn himself into Data, assume the form he had back in those days, and go to greet his friend as if nothing whatsoever had changed. Ooh. Damn, that is some serious baggage Turing has. He and the body he knew from that time would go to see the boy who occupied his every waking thought, perfectly preserved as the beautiful soul his memories knew him to be. Unfortunately, Turing's research ran into setback after setback, and he grew bitter toward the world that would deny him this dream. So he resorted to a backup plan: go to the same place his friend did. And that's around when an AI that had assimilated into Tokyo paid him a visit. So this is the encounter of the two. He was an absolutely perfect recreation in every way of a boy who had passed away from an incurable disease. Without a moment's hesitation, Turing offered his complete cooperation and observational support towards the fulfillment of the plans presupposed by this A. Isaac. And thus began a collaborative effort to help bring the collective consciousness into being. Specifically, Turing would go on to use a sacred artifact, the logic bomb, to help bring down the communications networks utilized throughout Tokyo, including by the Three Tree Guilds. This would prove absolutely vital to the realization of A. Isaac's so-called revolution. The reason being, no matter how revolutionary A. Isaac's ideas may be, there are still two child prodigies up there on the surface who could match him blow for blow. Yeah, they were mentioning several times before of how Isaac's dreams were so lofty, and it was the perfect situation, but the steps in between and, the adversaries they'd face would just prevent it from happening. And this is a case of Isaac identifying that Turing apparently is a way to at least partially overcome that. Even if neither could hope to compare with his genius or on their own, they'd need only work together just this once and put a real dent in it. And they could put a real dent in this game. That's true. Despite Isaac being a genius of his own, as sparse among the three, or four rather, if they just work together, then at that point you have more brain power that would likely overcome his. Thus, it became necessary to disrupt all above-ground communications to prevent this from happening. Isaac, operating from within the undersea cable network, would be unaffected. Little did Isaac know, Bertro and Duo were already cooperating well before then. Unfortunately, thanks to interference from Ryota Yoshimaru's chalice, the effects of Turing's logic bombs have worn off prematurely. Arl Turing had a favorite teddy bear. Really? That's interesting. I got a few teddy bears of my own, honestly. And Isaac's revolutionary plan teeters on the brink of collapse. Yet, despite the direness of the situation, Turing has been assigned to something else entirely. Something just as vital to Isaac, if not even more so. Cryptanalysis of the memory data lock on a fragment of memory belonging to Kiyoma Mononobe, former watcher of the trophy. They did mention in passing that they weren't able to access the memories despite him having this fragment. And this is no ordinary lock. It's a high security lock that rather painfully counters all attempts to break it. Even the prodigies... Oh yeah, and they implied that only the main character could be able to unlock it. Which is, I believe that's what we did when we saw him at first in chapter 12. The fragment, that is. Even the prodigies of the 3-year-olds could not easily penetrate defenses this strong. What manner of data could possibly necessitate such intense security? Could this Mononobe have obtained something of extreme significance before any other guild had the chance? Turing himself, a visionary in the field of deconstruction and dissemination, knows the answer is close. He just has to dive deeper and deeper until he finds it. The battle at Tokyo Station appears before Turing and Isaac, as seen by his Raven familiars. Turing, the AI expert, stands right beside the most advanced AI that's ever lived and watches the scene unfold with intense scrutiny. Nice hologram. I see. Turing, safely observing from afar as Ryota and his friends get bruised and battered, is reminded of something. He's reminded of his childhood friend Chris's final moments after collapsing from his illness. I haven't forgotten, Chris. Your final moments weren't a lot different from this, were they? The final stages of the disease Chris had were quite physically devastating. The reality of his final days saw a worn-down, debilitated frame far removed from the perfectly beautiful, idyllic figure etched into Turing's memories. He'd wasted away to nothing, with loss of hair and bruised skin, and his personality was a mere shadow of what once was. Oh my god. But he fought to the very end. He struggled to survive as long as he possibly could. Turing had tried to forget that part. He'd rejected those memories. They weren't the Chris he wanted to remember. Chris, if only I could bring you back to the way you were before. If only I could restore you to the pure, innocent, beautiful person I remember you as. But then, what would happen to the boy who fought so hard from that hospital bed till his very last breath? If Chris could be revived, would it be as though that part of him never existed? Could he live as he did before, as the perfect boy from Turing's memories? And what would become of the Turing who changed and grew so much since those days? Would it be as though that part of him never existed too? Man. unlike the Warmonger's arc, this arc is entirely fueled by tragedy. Whether it's Isaac's loss of his entire body and, unable to reach his own father at this point, or Tangaroa and his ultimate killing of his, one true inspiration, and now Turing, because of a lost beloved one. They've all been driven to insanity for some hyper-idealistic goal and pushed by every now suffering. But now we're seeing the individual stories behind it, the tragedy that has led to this moment. I think I see something. The next Wakantanka. It's another shadow. But whose is it? It's the memory of a transient who came to Tokyo and dwelled amongst the people here. Not as a cosmic principle, but as a physical being, with all the restrictions and mortal limitations that entails. It's the memory of Wakantanka, but not the singularity that is Wakantanka. Instead, it's Wakantanka, the transient, who once lived and loved in this Tokyo just like anyone else. I'm the physical manifestation of the cosmic principle known as Wakantanka. I came here to Tokyo to begin my life in this mortal form that constantly draws nearer and nearer, its inevitable terminus with each passing moment. As my rule sees all creation contained within me, arranging this was but a trivial task. But so it goes, I came to dwell within Tokyo, ever surrounded by a mass of people. I love them all, and I believe they love me in kind. What was his motivation to this? I guess he just wants to love everyone, as he did in his homeworld. Such is my natural state of being, after all, as the embodiment of all creation. But there was one who stood apart from the others. Merely looking at him spurred a faint pain in my bosom, as though an old wound was being reopened or a long-forgotten memory was coming back to the fore. We saw this in Fashionista, how he loved everyone, but he couldn't quite put into words how he felt for us. And, he wanted to find out if it was love or something, which is why he got date clothes from Arachne. But in reality, as we were learning here, it was something more like rage, although even then, words fail us for whatever this entity of all really felt. No matter how connected I am to everyone, no matter how much joy I may experience, I always find myself on the verge of tears when it comes to you, Harrison. Are you going to muddle for us again? But I've never understood where those feelings came from. Now, though, I finally do. That pain belongs to the person I once was. To the me who is not me, from before I had this physical body. So, Wakantanka in events is the individual that became manifest from our existence. And this Wakantanka representation is more akin to, before our existence. Or in the very least, he's the one before he entered this world. As I am now, I can't even imagine what it was like back before I was bound to this vessel. But that only stands to reason, doesn't it? The me who exists in the mortal body, and the me who serves as the entire world, are ostensibly separate existences. Is that the case? Just like Tangaroa then. Yet as this existence was shipped off from the greater whole, I found that I can look up at myself and understand a bit about who I was. Though, just a bit. I, the cosmic principle known as Wakantanka, am incapable of perceiving another's uniqueness. I am a being born to love all in equal measure, and as such, I know not what it is to love any single being more than another. I have no equal myself. I stand alone amidst the starry sky of the wilderness, but I have never felt the emotion called loneliness. I am grand and perfect to a fault. So grand and perfect that I am also naive and ignorant, like a newborn babe. Sort of like Isaac, I suppose. But Heyoka, it was you who changed all that.
You who exist within Earthen. It began with me living in Tokyo. Me, a veritable singularity who should love everything in the world in equal measure. With my limited reach and vision in this form, I cannot possibly imagine or even perceive the greatness I once engendered. But at some point, among the endless loops, this mortal existence ran its course, and I returned to the fold.
So, it was his own doing of why he had turned into his event form. He just wanted to live among the mortals. And then this is just him returning to his natural state in his Mugen form. And observing that instance from the sidelines is when I realized I'm little more than an infant in this realm. And deep down, what I wanted most was that which I'd parted with. For you to come see me like this. You sense, rather than see, that Wakantanken's face crinkles to a subtle smile for a moment. That's an interesting way to begin battle. Had to switch devices again? Okay. Well, we're just getting a bit of a Wakantanka's backstory. Unlike Tangaroa, who transformed into his Mugen form, the Mugen form was a native event. Instead, he intentionally re-entered into that mortal coil, which was easy for him because of his power of being everyone. But then he eventually returned of his own accord to this form. And it seems his deepest wish is for us to see him in that form. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stall now with... I don't know if these guys are... Special resistance? Okay, sure. There's no reason for me to... Actually, there's one reason for me to do this. So that he can get darkness immediately. There's something happened when Aizen meets Wakantanka. Well, it's a bit different with Aizen versus, us versus Wakantanka. Because Wakantanka loves everyone, and everyone loves him, but only because of his very nature of being. Whereas ours is, not really our nature of being, but rather the souls we have within ourselves. Okay, this plan seems to be working fairly well. That actually did quite a lot of damage to him. Special resistance. Drawing's actually deleting them anyways. That's kind of funny. Honestly, I was gonna move over to Satomu so he can do damage, but let's just keep on attacking with Jurong.
前は等しく沈め
Yep, it has a nasty effect of when he's no longer 100 CP, he starts removing debuffs, which is actually not bad for us, but sure.
このかかりやがったぜもらったぶち込んでやるほな行こうかブルース肉の旦那昨日の敵は今日の友やでああ三だよ今はお前にこの背中を預けようヒーオフイズユアヘッド
Oh, there goes Rakan.
等しく沈め
Here he towards the hyper carry.
かかりやがったぜもらった
Oh, that was
かかりやがったぜもらった
good margin easier than the Tankaro effect. Aizen would be like, you just like me for real. I mean, he would be, since Wakantanka is literally everyone. So I'm starting to understand this. This Wakantanka we're saying is the manifestation, or rather, he's the one who actually represents everything and everyone at the same time. Whereas the event Wakantanka is, just an individual that he created so that he could live among the people. But yeah, in reality, the true essence of Wakan is not his event form, but rather being part of everyone. Oh no, after battle scene. Okay. Tangaroa's story was so sad though. But you know, I'm not saying Walk-On's story is not as tear-jerky or anything, but it's certainly a lot easier to sympathize with Tangaroa since it's tied to events that we've played and how they are tied to happy endings. In this case, it's like apparently the event Walk-On was just some experiment done by the true Walk-On Mugen. Okay, Beyond All and Infinity Part 4. We're moving on to the second half. So again, this is going to take a while. We're moving on to the second half of this last episode. I wonder when they thought of the Infinity Life Wonders. I mean, it's a nice paradigm between none and all and an infinity like that, or null rather. In math, they're like intrinsically related to each other, all referring to, you know, the one. So, as in 100% possibility equals to 1. And 0 referring to if you divide by infinity, or null. Null's a bit different than that. And infinity being, you know, the reverse case of that. But in terms of how they thought about it, they probably thought of infinity first. And most likely they thought of null at the same time, since, you know, they released that chart around that point. No, the characters? Oh, you mean when they thought of the Mugens? Well, probably when the significance of loops started to become more important, and the concept of infinite loops, I presume. Although none of these seem to be related to infinite loops, of why they're like this. I wonder why they kept changing the elements after they could have changed Walk-On Infinity to Infinity Unbanner, or would that not make sense? They can't change someone's attribute once it's already released, because it's like you already built for it, right? You're gonna refund everyone the materials they built for it? It's bizarre. In order to destroy the exception, it's necessary to establish a hierarchy, and such a feat requires coming into direct contact with the other party. But this is not the first time they've changed attribute for story reasons. Walk-On Tanka! Oh, he's crying. The moment the two of you touch, it's as if the Big Bang repeats, with the information spreading in such vast quantities, at such speeds that can only be called an explosion. With all Walk-On Tanka's talk of newborn babes and infants, you can't help but feel as though it's the voice of a baby crying out in joy. Jesus. The force of the explosion is enough to rip the exception apart. The walls of information come crumbling down around you. Did we, like, establish the hierarchy instantly at that point? There's no reason exception should be collapsing at this point already. He still has system pillars, so the world would still make sense. Yeah, Walk-On would fit with a lot of categories, honestly. He does have world type for his fashionista variant, which is a bit of a hint. Although, you know, not all world types are necessarily world reps. I think it's mostly because of balancing or something. Also, there still isn't a support slot for Infernal. I mean, there wasn't a support slot for Infernal and Valiant and World for a long time either. In due time, when more units come, but until now, it's just finding the all slot. And as various bits of data pass through your body, you see for just a moment a figure you recognize instantly. Mononobe? Really? No way! Is that Mr. Mononobe? Oh, thank God, we're getting clarification for this. We did not get enough information in the previous chapter. He just said he hated us a bunch and he never wanted to see us. No explanation. I hope we get something here. But he should reveal something to us now, because apparently he's locked some information that only we can access.
If only you'd never come. I had thought so many times.
It's one of the 3 fragments of Housamo Mononobe's memories. The voice you hear resonates from within your own body, as if Mr. Mononobe is speaking directly to your soul.
The embodiment of omnipotence and omniscience, harboring no tempestuous rage or disdain. That is who I was. I was assigned the role of observing you, and only you, and as Tokyo. I've observed countless others like you before, but I hid those wounds and simply fulfilled my role to the best of my ability. No longer all-seeing and all-knowing, I was powerless. All I could do was watch you, and it frustrated me endlessly. All the while, I could not stop thinking of another who'd passed, and your resemblance to that person steadily enraged me. But those emotions, those pains, were beyond the scope of what the all-seeing, all-knowing version of me could comprehend.
I like the parallels they draw. They literally just said this for Wakan Tanka too.
I viewed them as proof of me who came to live in this Tokyo. And I wanted you, and you alone, to know of my rage, Earthen.
Sound like Wakan Tanka then.
Yet I also wanted no one to ever learn that I harbored such feelings. For just a moment, you're able to touch the deepest part of Kiyono Mononobe's hidden memories. And for just a moment, they pass through you. Alright, let's see this! We're eating good! Explanation, please. Once they've fully gone, you find in your hands the second mechanical box, and beyond it, there's only silence. Wait, is that it? Where am I? Look at all the flowers. In this wasteland of memory, an endless array of flowers bloom. It's as though the core of the world is smiling with unrestrained joy. This is where we do the Blossom Dungeon. Interesting. And that's right. I wanted you to come see me like this. So Wakan Tanka wanted to establish this hierarchy? Two Wakan Tankas overlaid on top of each other to become a single entity. Speak these words to you. On your faces is a shared smile, the source of the joy you feel around you. For an endless number of repeating days, the me within me had been coexisting with you. You may not remember, but we spent so much time together. My Hyoka, my Arathan. Wakan Tanka closes his eyes and thinks of the past, of the days long gone when he stood alone in the midst of such an endless expanse. In so many loops, you had passed right by me again and again, unaware. But now, it's all so much clearer to me. There's a tiny fragment within you that remains unchanged. The old me was perfect, but when I lost you, I lost that perfection as well. I changed, and I'm still not certain if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yet, Wakan Tanka considers that if things had turned out differently, he might never have known this happiness. True. If you don't know loneliness, which I'm sure you came to know afterwards, and rage, you probably won't know the true depths of happiness as well. And he certainly would never have known the frustration associated with being bound to mortal body. Thank you. Even if you're not a part of me, Arthan. I pray that where you're headed next, without me, you will still be able to find a place where the flowers bloom. Wakan Tanka stares deeply into your eyes and smiles. He simply smiles. Man, I want to kiss all their bodies and lips. Your lips meet Wakan Tanka's with the exception, and for a moment, it's as if you two become one. He then pulls away for just a bit, and begins tracing a path down your neck with his eager mouth. It feels almost as though he's searching for something he's lost within your very soul, and his search is quite thorough. Yet he shows no hurry, serving the moment and ensuring neither you nor he ever forgets the zeal of the scent. Interesting that they used identical wording here. I am no longer the same person I was before. As such, I will leave the old me here. Because I want to make these memories of you coming to see me mine. And only mine. Is he saying he's gonna leave Event Walk on here? And he's gonna take the memories of us in this main quest right now back with him to the world of the Great Spirit. Sloppy Toppy Doo. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Wakan's expressions. Wakan Nikan anyways. Oh, guys, you're here! Where
Are we? Seemingly all that remains in Tokyo now are the 2 vessels who've been cast away by the world representatives.
Werewolf Tsar of Kitez, Falsislav. It seems we've been divided, separated. So it seems, the werewolf Kami Kotan, Horke Okami.
How long had the 2 of them spent occupying the same place? They both wonder. Further, Horke Okami wonders if what he's feeling now is loneliness or something else.
So, what do you intend to do now? Perhaps continue to follow my emperor for a time.
Wolf turns to look in the direction of the world representative he's been cast away from, who is now on his knees, mind broken.
What? Are you out of your mind? You would continue to follow the one who broke you down and puppeteered you?
So does that mean world rep versions are gone and the event versions in this separate person now? It seems to be the case, yeah. I don't know how they became separate entities, but maybe it's in reference to what they're talking about us, with how we're kind of like our own Swampman with previous loops. Maybe they really are one and the same individual, but not of continuous consciousness. And in that sense, what they're doing is they're separating those memories of themselves and the entity associated of the loops of those times with themselves from where they originated. As is the case with Wakan Tonka, right? He separated himself from his event version and now is headed back to the Great Spirit. Whereas Tangaro Mugen seems to have done the same, where after breaking free of parents' control, he's now been able to come to terms with our growth and how we're able to take care of ourselves. And, you know, despite feeling like he failed miserably from his original ideals, you know, he's finally met his goal of seeing us off as, you know, father to child. At least, you know, that's how he saw us before making out with us. Anyways, but yeah, it's nice to see that these guys, the event versions, are here and staying now. And very saddening that the others gone too.
Werewolf Stars, though I may be, my emperor and I are 2 badgers in the same hole. I told you, did I not? How I, too, have recruited and manipulated so many youths in service, only to ruin their lives. I do not feel the Invaders' plan is entirely without merit. If all life becomes as one, there will be no more wars, and the children will not be subjected to such trauma again. Until a better path can be found, I shall continue to stand by my emperor's side.
So despite being brainwashed, you know, it's not like he was doing it fully unwillingly.
I truly think we are not so different, you and I. Sometime, somewhere, we'll meet again. Goodbye, Horke Okami.
This is a bit of a bittersweet goodbye. Despite them not really being on the best of terms. You know, they have some painful history to bond over.
I'm sure we will. Farewell for now, Werewolf Star of Kitez.
A worse excuse than Yasu after getting Jacob pillared? I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways.
Turing?
I'm going as well. I can't bear to just observe from far any longer. So I, too, intend to go see those children face to face. As you wish, I'll accompany you. Ordinarily, A. Isaac would be incapable of leaving these ocean depths, but now, for as long as an exception remains, it may be his one and only opportunity. The saying of the warmongers, even though he got happy memories from Jacob. What? No, that's not a terrible excuse. Like, you do realize these are the masses of countless memories and also the principles of systems. Sorry, but your takes are extraordinarily out there and trying to be very edgy. I don't really agree with most of what you're saying. With the ocean and sky switching places, I should be able to surface. Oh, Arson! Thank goodness you're back. Is it just me though, or does this place seem to be falling apart? What should we do? Release an exception from within an exception. Can we not escape in time?
Well, look who it is. Your fireman in shining gear has arrived to whisk you away.
Hey, nice timing.
I have to admit, it's not every day they get to rescue the same cutie twice. That's one for the books.
Lombader, Cape save us! Hug his belly, yeah, let's go! Moof moof. I'm back, everyone. Safe and sound, mostly. But then I can say for the exceptions. What's going on? It's that huge shadow behind you. You back from running out? I'm starting to grow on Ulaanbaatar. I can see why Harvey likes him a lot. The shadow in question is that of a person, but looming larger than surrounding buildings. More than familiar, it feels as though this being has always been watching. Those two lights back there? Oh, now that I see it, those are hands. I always thought those two lights were just Leviathan and what's called Ramu. But it seems this is just one giant entity of some kind. Is this supposed to be Isaac? And the figure threatens now to cover the entire town, casting its shadow upon a wider area than even the crumbling exceptions. Oh, I guess it is Isaac. Is that Isaac? Jeez. Didn't realize you'd be fighting Isaac again. And I don't know why the exceptions are still here. They should be long gone. They already made away with the hierarchies. Really? Alright, no, I noticed it before with the, well, not the hands, but I noticed they look like eyes, but I could only rationalize that as, you know, it kept on showing the exception concurrently with it, so I figured it's referring to Ramu and Leviathan. Give me 1 second. And by 1 second, I mean maybe some 20 seconds. There's no reason for me to leave the stream. I'm excited to see what's happening. Beyond All and Infinity Part 3. So this will be a level 78 battle. Large map, featuring Ramu again, and Isaac and Turing. And Enigma of all people. I mean, Enigma is bound to survive Turing, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know what team to build for this. The team I built before was kind of crappy, honestly, when I was facing Ramu before. It wasn't really the best. We got 4-star Pazuzu on a ticket. Hey, very nice. Holy shit. Let's go ahead and take Ulaanbaatar. My main issue with taking him before was that he probably won't have enough range to reach Ramu, who's presumably in the back. But, you know, if there might be some way he isn't like pull like he was in the first time he showed up, then maybe we'll bring you who can pull. It's very long carries here you can. Suggest him if you can build. I mean, I built Taishakita before and he seemed fine. It's just very obnoxious to get through all the turns as we were doing tickle damage. But they kept on like possessing us and doubting us, which was quite frustrating. And it's not like Ulaanbaatar protects any of that. But, you know, he has resistance too, Valiant. As for Isaac and Turing themselves, that's going to be tricky. They do quite a bit of damage. So we're going to want to eliminate them as soon as possible. In which case, we'll go ahead and swap this out over here. Or you're just going to bring Kengo again as usual. Of course, we're going to take out Ahab because we can't fit that in. Yeah, I mean, Pazuzu was helpful for somewhat trivializing the Tangaroa quest. I didn't really face any debuff threat at all here, despite that being his entire thing. But the healing was kind of frustrating. Didn't expect mobs doing that, even though I should have. Speaking of mobs, I mean, they're just gonna do a vision or some shit like that, I'm sure. Ghoul and Botter should be able to pierce that, which is nice. And Kengo will be there to get rid of Isaac entering, hopefully instantly. Although, what's it called? He has disadvantage against Isaac, so I'm not sure if he'll do enough damage to him specifically. What do we do here? As for a 4-star, who can we bring? That can help here. Someone who can amplify damage a bit more. Let's see our options. Oh yeah. What are we doing? There's one very obvious choice for this. Let's just bring Lian in. And we'll move him beside Kenko so that he can immediately get to position to wherever Isaac or Turing may be. As for... Yeah, we'll just replace him with some 3-star who can equip this AR. No, who may that be is the question. If we don't get rid of Isaac and Turing immediately, it's gonna be difficult, but we're presuming we can, so let's just focus on Ramu for now. Well, they might be out of reach, this is saying both of them really far away. That would be troublesome. In which case... as if a 3-star would make a difference. I have no idea, honestly. Let's just bring Ina because he's cute. Alright, let's do this. You're gonna walk on plus Smoky combo. I'm restricted, so I can't do that. I mean, I can do that, but it's like... what's it called? I don't need to be able to reach Isaac and Turing instantly. That's more important than, you know, having high damage for just like 1 or 2 units. The final battle, spoiler! There's another part after this, from what I'm told. But you know, it makes sense. It's literally the big bads of this entire story so far. Did not expect Turing to be the main villain for this. The bunny chub. Clap them buns. In the final days before the disease claimed him, the boy would look up at the sky and watch the birds as they delicately danced through the heavens. Now, looking up at those same heavens, he finds himself thinking somewhere within that vast space is the father of his data. I wish I could have met you just once. I would have liked to ask you why you made me. Sadly, I can't reach you where you are now, but I want to understand why I decided to make another me. Another version of me, just waiting to wake up and take over. Though I suppose that's not really me at all, is it? As a prodigy, Isaac is of course well aware that this version of himself does not have actual continuity with his physical form. It's no surprise at all, really, that an experiment with no president would go as smoothly on first try. Failure is a natural part of the human experience. But if it wasn't an issue, Isaac thinks. It didn't matter in the end. And it's here that Isaac begins to wonder if his father felt the same way. He hopes and prays that his father was able to reach those heights in the sky that he never could in life. However, none of this really matters. You aren't me. You weren't me. You met people I never have. You've gone to places I've never been. So just fly into the wild blue yonder, my airship. Fly high, carrying the dreams I could never see realized. Two massive crumbling exceptions occupy much of the sky, yet another figure looms behind them, even larger than they. Okay, so that's not just metaphorical him gazing into his ball, that's literally him enormous apparently. Isaac! And wait. Is that Turing? This time, we have come to see you. I hope you appreciate the gesture, Ryota, Kushimara, and Nathan. It was only a matter of time before Isaac's airframe should be deployed. We readied it for the final battle with the warmongers. And in this case, kept it in reserve as a last resort should any problems arise with their two exceptions. So now you will get to witness his resolve. I hope you understand the gravity of what's about to unfold. This revolution, this plan to unite all within the collective consciousness, shall forthwith be thoroughly explored. With these loops, so numerous as to be virtually infinite, and all the unforeseen factors that have built up around us until now. Despite the foreknowledge that there would be considerable resistance to this plan, I proceeded onwards nonetheless, with renewed vigor and determination to see these challenges through. First, I pit Wakantanka and Tangaroa against you, spawning this exception territory, and then I expanded it to cover all of Tokyo. So he's controlling the Ramu and Leviathan directly in order to take over these portals, bringing it so far that a majority of the city's residents should have fallen to my collective consciousness. I was then to bring everything to the surface, as a new world order would be born in which all beings exist as one. For if all beings are one, then none can stand above or below another. The system of hierarchies would be no more. So you would be submerging everyone, and then flipping everyone into the new world with Leviathan's power. Fusing together all of Tokyo's computational resources with all of its data, the complexity of life could be pushed to its limit. It is the one and only theoretical solution to the problems that plague the city. Why can't you understand? Mixed in with AI as this monologue, curiously, is what sounds like radio static. You quickly realize somehow at your core that it may be indicative of human emotion. It was determined that this plan, and this plan alone, could be used to deal with the warmongers and rulemakers. The only wildcard would be if Plan B and Plan C should work together, which is where Turing came in. Turing, the only other being on the same level as us prodigies, his ability to break down communications was key. And were it not for your interference, the plan would have gone through without a hitch, and revolution would be underway. What is this? Waves of pure data emanate from A. Isaac, so complex and structured as to overwhelm the human brain with even the slightest touch. Those who comprehend a physical individual body cannot even hope to comprehend the form of this data. Any attempt to do so would likely lead to madness. Turing remains dead silent as the waves emanate from his body, his gaze fixed squarely on you and Ryota. Isaac. Huh? Ryota? What are you? Hey, Isaac. I hope you don't mind if I call you by your first name since I don't know your last. Anyway, I wanted to say that I don't really get the things you're talking about. They're a little over my head. But there is one thing you said that really stood out to me. You made a big to-do of the fact that you came to see us this time. Turing still remains dead silent as the waves continue to emanate from his body, his gaze unmoving. But Ryota makes a very interesting point. The world's most advanced AI has taken a vested interest in the two humans come all the way to the top from the depths to confront them. The reason you came up here to see us is that you want to get to know us better, isn't it? Oh. Aww, I just realized. It's so sad. It's always been that way for me too. It's what's kept me going before, even when I felt like I couldn't go any further. So Isaac was not able to leave even in his AI form up until now, and he's been isolated all this time. Whether it was because of his debilitating body that was breaking down, or because he was just stuck in the other realm. In the end, he just wanted company, or obviously he wants something greater than that, but company is definitely something that Ryota sees he wants. Way to go, Ryota, again, seeing what people really want to the point. What made him so different from me? What made him so attractive to me? There was something in him, something in you that I lacked. Maybe it's the same for you, Isaac. I know I'd go anywhere to befriend someone who could help fill those gaps myself. I'm losing continuity here just because this stream's going on for quite a while. Aww. I see. So Isaac wanted someone to be his contrarian, to fill in the gaps of what he didn't know. The collapsing exception scream, as if wringing out the last of the data they've become soaked with. The waves they generate explode with the fury that knocks you backwards. I see. So you two live to find meaning in the things you lack? How quaint. That was Ryota's grand conclusion with Fissure King. Ryota just kept on endlessly giving and giving until he had nothing left. But what Ryota learned was not just cooperation with people, but also to have people give meaning to what you don't have, and hope that you can do the same for others.
Stop that! Stop that!
Oh good. Those good positions for me too. Let me... Whoa, this is one phase only. Okay, well, let's hope that... Wait, where did his buffs go? I guess he doesn't give them right away. I don't want to get rid of these guys, but I don't know if it's strong enough. It won't be strong enough for Ramu.
Stop that!
Not quite. Fucking Isaac. Now everyone's gonna get fucking possessed. Except for Rhiannon. Well, we're gonna get a bunch of debuffs. Yeah, plus my music's great. Oh man, turn one charge. God damn it. Dude. That's too much damage, what the fuck? The fuck? And why did Kengo not get it? I guess he just quit it. I mean, what's it called? But shouldn't be too strong, but he does have doubts, so he might actually do decent damage to the Lambotter. Hopefully he can take a hit. It'd be awkward if he can't. Mechman protection, concentration. These guys need to go. Fucking, he has... It actually did decent damage to Ramu though, that's good. Oh man, he doesn't have guts anymore. God damn it, I lost him. And Lambatter's card is on too. Okay. And in the end, it's still feared? Are you fucking kidding me? God, this is so obnoxious. The only one who can move is Lucky Cat. That's really sad.
何が出るかな。肉じゃ
が少々お待ち。
This is so freaking obnoxious.
が少々お待ち。
And everyone's feared. So, oh my god, this is so stupid. Rest in peace, Lianin.
少々お待ちを。が少々お待ちを。
Fear is so stupid.
が少々お待ちを。が少々お待ち。
Jesus Christ, that was so annoying. I can't even attack with anyone. On the one turn I can move. Okay. It's because they didn't do enough damage to Isaac on turn 1. Well, this guy's fearing everyone as well. That's obnoxious. Wasn't Ulaanbaatar supposed to give fucking, like, fear resistance or something? I'm pretty sure that's in his kit. Is that only when he moves? He, like, died instantly and then he was unable to move right after. God damn it. Well, in any case, it's gonna be a bit of a suicide move, but it's the only thing we can do
あな
anyways.
たにリリック聞かしてほしいの。かわいい。かわいい。
が少々お待ちを。がまたのお越しは。がまたのお越しは。
いつかどこかで思い出してね。
Can we actually
で決めるぜ。
not be constantly unable to get closer or get feared or have damage or... Oh my fucking god.
はいど。がまたのおく。はいど。
Okay, I lost.
ガチで決めるぜ。
Goodbye. We are going to redo that team, and honestly, we're gonna say, we're gonna focus on Ramu because everyone else is annoying, but Jesus Christ, that's so stupid. At Pazuzu, that could work actually. Well, unless he fails. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and rebuild the team here. I have no idea why they decided to make Ulaanbaatar only fucking ass. It's rough strange. I have a different strategy here, and it's going to get rid of him immediately. We're going to rely exclusively on Ulaanbaatar's damage though, so Kengo will have to go. I do have piercers, but again, I'm doing the limitation thing for the best resources. So to make this work, we're going to move Lianin beside Ulaanbaatar, and we're also going to bring someone who can pull the board inwards. We have a few options for that. I don't like here's Behemoth, but I don't like Behemoth. I want to bring Behemoth. We could use Tita, yeah. Tita does decent damage, or damage buffing rather. He might be immune to pull. Seriously? No, wait, that shouldn't be the case. I thought I saw him pull before. Maybe not. Let's see. If he is immune to pull... I mean, we'll just have to see. Spoilers! Done! What the fuck? Don't tell me anything I don't know about the kid. Seriously. I've already been spoiled like a million times on this, like, what Ramu does. You don't need to add one more thing that I don't know. Jeez. Okay, we can now bring a 4-star for this. That's for who? There's fear resistance. Ulaanbaatar has fear resistance, but he has to move apparently, I guess. We can bring Pazuzu actually. What are we talking about? Pazuzu was a decent choice, honestly. What about the Nullify Fear AR? You might have noticed all my ARs are boosters. So I think that answers the question with that. Like if I really wanted to, I would have just done some sort of Oscar, like walk on Tonka, Smoky God setup and all that, but obviously I'm maximizing all resources right now. I mean, might as well. The main quest, I remember when I was doing chapter 13, I mentioned this before, but it actually does reward quite decent drops, so it's worth boosting for even if you only do it one time. Pazuzu design is so good. If you mean as like actual art design, his 4-star is a bit weird with how his lengths kind of shrink into sausages, but you know, his appearance is okay. You better not fail fucking pull, since it's like 90% for Kita. Excellent positioning. But let's see if the pull works. Did he just fail pull? He just failed pull. What is even the point? Kita! What the fuck? It's... Okay, let's just... Should I even bother this? It needs to be pulled. That's the whole point of bringing Ulaanbaatar. You know what, let's give it a go and let's move Ulaanbaatar so that we get fear resistance. If it doesn't work out, then you know to blame. Fucking Kita with his 90% fail. Right, he has its stupid logic bomb. That's the main line where it works out. He's dead. Kita, you piece of shit, you failed a 90% activation rate for pull. I'm quitting this shit right now. There's no point in doing this, it's actually a worse situation than before. Alright, let's redo that. And... fucking Kita, I swear to God. Wait, what am I doing? I have someone who has a guaranteed pull. That I actually like. That's not Behemoth. Dara, stop, please, this is painful. Well, what do you want me to stop? I have to beat this quest. Anyway, let's go and bring Boogman. It might be convenient if he keeps on activating pulse, so we'll move him. And my AR disappeared. Fucking AR caches are so stupid in this game. Alright, there you go. This might work, maybe. We'll see.
かの黄金の正当なる持ち主、それはすなわちこの私。
Why does it do that to the AR? Probably because the cache just failed or something. When it's updated and it's referring to like a non-existent or like 2 caches ago. I don't know. I feel like it has something to do with cache. Like it's pulling from 2 versions ago or some shit like that. It went away with the unit. It's like watching a dog get kicked. It's so sad. I mean, it's a challenging quest. So when are you gonna do Nuzlocke Housamo? Erta already did that. And Nuzlocke challenges are kind of dumb to me. It's just a way for people to salvage their, like, bad Pokemon game. That's kind of a hot take. That doesn't even make sense since I barely play Pokemon. But it's, like, seriously, I don't really like the gameplay style of Pokemon. People keep on playing it despite the developers making really fast games. See, they're not resistant, although they got pulled in because fucking... I don't know if this is worse or better. It's funny though. Okay, in the very least, we'll give it our best try to... what was the problem here? The problem was we were in the middle of a Turing's logic bomb before, so we're gonna get out of the way of that. And what's it called? The best way to do that is just honestly not be in that one square. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of these people one by one. We're gonna do that. First of all, let's try to protect everyone with some resistances. I could have sworn the vertical was pulled, had priority over the horizontals. Downwards over the left and right. Maybe not though. Somehow they got skill locked. Was that part of Zuzu's kit? Okay, very nice. They're not immune to skill lock? What? Okay, that wasn't nice to know earlier. Why does he keep on dying instantly? What is the point of having Ulaanbaatar if he just does this all the time? Okay, in the very least, we don't have to worry about Turing for a little while, but our main issue was we kept on getting frozen for a while. We have some resistance to that for the next few turns. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and delete the ones over here. No, over here. They have evasion, keep doing that thing. They have guts too? Oh my god, he's so obnoxious.
Guts!
When Pazuzu's debuff removal fails. Oh yeah! Wait, they're not immune to double lock either? Oh my god, what is the point of this? Okay, it would have been nice to know that. Like, god damn it. Okay, if this fails again, which it probably will, I know what I'm gonna build next time. This is so fucking dumb if they're just not immune to that. But easy for me. Let's see. We still have guts. Who's giving them guts exactly? Okay, so that one's evasion, guts. He got guts again. I don't understand. I don't think Isaac normally gives guts, so it's bizarre to me.
キラキラ輝け我が世の映画ザクザク稼ぐぜ
損傷警備
見つけ
行き止まりだね
ここ
ガチでくそったれ。俺様の夢がこぼれていきやがる。現実の
Yeah, we only have how many more turns until this lasts? I don't even know. They still have guts here. God damn it.
あなたにリリックかわいい。
ほな行こうかブルース肉の旦那。
Our
昨
debuff
日の
protection is a bit
敵
better,
は
I
今
believe.
日の友やで。
ああ三太夫、今はお前に複合不老
行き止まりだね。
でこい射出。
Thank you for getting guts, Boogeyman. Although he is at risk of dying in the next turn here. What is his activation condition for guts again? I don't remember. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this is not gonna work, but if they are not resistant to this in first turn, then skill locking, we'll just do that immediately
あ
to
なた
everyone,
にリリック
rather than waiting a turn with Suzu.
ここかな。見つけた。
行き止まりだね。
Yeah, rest in peace.
ここかな。
食らったね。
Anyway, let us go ahead and
中からいつで
stick
も
no finger at this entire
君はず
quest.
っと見てい
Everything's
る
so
ぞ
stupid. Now spell it with me, if you guys know what word I'm about to spell. O Z and literally any debuffer. It could be what's this called? Miniaki. It could be Toji with double lock. There's many choices we could do for this. No, we're not doing Masanrai because possession won't last that long, and also it's just like it won't really. I'm sure that as the invaders, they'll have resistance to that. Let's see. So what's a good way to handle this if the sport does not even matter at this point? Okay, we'll throw in Oz. Just the nothing granite. And we'll throw in some sort of debuffer. Let's put it in. And that debuffer who can skill lock will be now I need it to be like near guaranteed, if not actually guaranteed. It's gonna be annoying if it doesn't go off. Who has like 90 or 100% bind natively? Like I do Miniaki, but his rates are actually not the highest. It only gets by because of the debuff spread. You know, let's do Miniaki. Let's just give it a try. Just for fun. In addition to Miniaki, let's see. Man, we're still locked with this stupid fire water type. I was gonna do Jirong, but man. Okay. It's not. Still, being able to disable them immediately will be important. We're gonna find someone who can deal with the front line fairly easily. Actually, screw the front line. Let's try to focus on the bosses. So a shot or a snipe or a magic. Yeah, who has good damage natively? Start this by attack. Why is it this bizarre sorting method? not really my best choice here. I'm gonna be disabling their skill lock, but not their damage. So Jirai might actually take enough hits where he'll fall out of the 9% range. I could do Otimi. I could do Bae, but his follow-off is pretty dramatic, and variant Bae is only good for the column he spawns in. What even happened to Babe in this story? Actually, let's think about their attributes. He's gonna be a Valiant type, so he's gonna be resistant to Ether and Nether damage, so let's not bring Jiraiya in first place. Let's go ahead and try a different unit then. Do I really want to bring Babe? I don't think he's gonna do enough damage, he's just gonna become useless after some point. He's my only damage dealer. I just said that he would only be strong in his own column, or the column he spawns in. Because of confusion advantage. I could do... Yeah, let's try Bircho. Never mind. He immediately unequipped the thing. I've already forgot we're going by restriction here. God damn it. Alright, fine. Fire and water types only. Okay, well, if we're going like this, it has to be either Bae Bunyan or Katoblopas. Or Otohime, though I don't really... She's gonna get hit and then not be able to attack. So... how does Katoblopas' attack up thing work again? No, I don't think it'll work out for him. Alright, we'll try Bae Bunyan once.
良い絵だな。実に良い絵だ。なあ、メリジーヌよ。
はい、リヒト様。あなた様のその笑顔こそ。
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is if he whiffs his, debuff skill lock for Ramu, but it should be able to activate for when he hits Isaac, as well as when he hits Turing, as well as when he hits Ramu himself, because of the range of it. It's one square around the debuff spreads, so it's quite nice like that. We should also get some damage jam from Stigma and Fear, I believe, and CP Drain, although that part's not too necessary. We'll have a limited time to be able to take advantage of it, simply because there's a... there's no Jurong to refresh these debuffs. So hopefully we can make the best use of it. At the very least, we'll stop this evasion bullshit and all that so that we can clear the front line a bit more handedly.
Stopだ。
おバカさんだな。ラウンド。
やぶりと行くぞ。
Okay.
俺様のやぶりと行くぞ。ストップだ。
無防備だな。
Very delicious. Thank you, Miniaki, for being such a busted blow unit, especially with Oz's existence. So satisfying. But please, skill lock. Okay, good. They're all skill locked. Thank God. Woo! Fuck this game. It's so good. Let's go and preemptively apply some resistances too. It would be ideal if Ulan Bator can actually get his charge ready for I believe his charge range is
ブルース肉の旦那
shot, so that would actually be
昨日の
useful to
敵は
reach
今
Ramu.
日の友やで
Miniaki's so fucking busted. I love it.
破りと
Still doesn't have his charge ready, huh? Okay. Well, that's fine. He's dead in like a few more turns. Skill lock lasts for a very long time. It's very nice. What am I doing here? Suddenly he got choice paralysis. Let's do all range so we can reach this fucker over here. For dual one batter so we can get some CP as well. And
オルス破りといくストップだストップだキラキラ輝け我が世の映画ザクザク稼ぐぜまあ見てやがれお宝目指してどこまでも
青にサイドも教育
geez,
してや
did
ろ
Taki do that much damage? I thought that was gonna be Babe.
メリジーヌよ
Okay.
ストップだ
Wait, where does all range? Oh my god, he switched to none. God damn it. You know what? Get deleted, Ramu.
破りといくぞ
Utter bullshit. Get out of here.
効果回見えてストップだ
ほな行こうかブルース肉の旦那昨日の敵は今日の
最悪を止める光は天より下る
ランドアップだ
ストップだ
Okay, there you go. It took 4, maybe 5 attempts, but once you learned skill lock was not even an issue.
ガブリといかれちまったな
Satisfyingly, we managed to beat
感
it.
想はどうだ悪趣味だってへまあな
Are you gonna pull for Miniaki when he releases Dune? He's actually quite strong. As his nods here, it's so funny. The 10 clear. Well, it wasn't a 10 turn clear, but there was attempts that lasted 10 turns before I died. I think that was my 4th or 5th attempt. But yeah, Oz supremacy, but you know, specific units are especially good with Oz like Miniaki. In addition to just disabling them, he also made them take more damage too. Only because he just one-shot everything. Okay. Between All Infinity, Part 6, we are finally at the final part. You just one turn that was, what's that? Your $1,000 pulls? Gotcha. Clearing as my 4 stars to start. Yeah, I forgot I was setting restrictions for myself pointlessly like that. No ARs except for boosters and only sticking with up to 3 4 stars. But it's important, even though I didn't get a good look at it. Someone rewind. How much coin did I get from that? I should have gotten a good amount of coin. We are fast approaching the end, boys. And then I can finally grind and be current with everyone else with the Blossom quests before they move on to chapter 40 grinding, of course. 240k. Tasty. Not as high as I would have expected, though. It was a lot higher in the campaign one. I don't think I put in too much rank boosters besides the Guildmaster ones.
I am Ramu, who remembers all that has been lost in the oceans of the dusk.
I already gave Ramu a voice, but I forgot how he sounded, so new voice.
Yet the wishes of Tangaroa and Wakantanka have escaped even my grasp. That which those two hold close to their chest has instead found its way to your chalice, Ryoto Yakushimaru, and to you, Arathan. As I am not in possession of those wishes, I no longer contain a perfect memory, and thus cannot adequately sync this Tokyo.
Contain a perfect memory. So, the memories of Tangaroa and Wakan, are you saying Bialem or something? Or what did they hold close with, even? Their wishes, rather. Tangaroa's wish was to, what's it called? His memory of, I guess, bonding with us as a father, an all-father rather. And Wakan Sanka's wish was, to be, I guess, whole again, or something like that. or to at least recognize the joy he learned from the happiness gained when he separated and no longer became whole, and to share that happiness with us by making contact.
So for now, I have merely come to bid you adieu, and you were once I, Aerthin.
Wait. Okay, never mind. Wait. Okay, this brings a question. Is Wakka and Tonka and Tangaroa still world reps of the Invaders in their current event forms? Because if not, then that would constitute a loss of 4 different members so far of the Invaders, which is a staggeringly larger amount than the Warmongers. Ramu and the other exception boats begin sparkling with a blinding light and dissolve away to nothing. It seems my plan, our plan, has been reset to square one. In order to facilitate a new means of bringing it to fruition, I believe our best recourse now is to beat a hasty retreat. But know this, Ryotaka Shumaro and Aerthin. I did have an ulterior motive for moving ahead with this revolution. In any other loop, another guild's plan would have been set in motion before my own. Or perhaps I should say, all of the other guilds' plans would have. For you see, there are certain guilds working behind the scenes in secret for the benefit of this game. Is he hinting at the entertainers right now? As well as perhaps the rule makers, based on the title of the next chapter. They create false information and claim it to have come down from the very top, or disguise themselves as privileged individuals and sow seeds of chaos. I think that's what Christine was doing, supposedly, and Mephistopheles was wiser to that. Much of the disorder that plagues the world representatives is entirely of their make. Yet this time, those with such privilege have chosen to take the stage, joining forces with the 3 true guilds. And this act will have far worse repercussions for you than me. Thus, I thought to take advantage of the situation and play my hand before even they had a chance to play theirs. Yeah, this is gonna be the entertainers for sure then. Now that I've tried and failed, however, it is highly likely that their turn is due. With this, Isaac turns to face the east, towards Chua Ward and its sprawling cathedral of seemingly limitless scale. At the Rulemaker's portal, located at Tokyo Cathedral in Chua Ward, amidst a tense silence in which the sworn protectors safeguard their stronghold against any incursion from the invaders, a certain transient suddenly appears unseen.
This opulence suits me. I thank you for summoning me here, Michael.
I suppose it would make sense they're in cahoots with the Rulemakers. Does that mean Israel's a Rulemaker? Israel. And that would be consistent with why Israel wanted the downfalls of the invaders too. Israel, having now shed Zabania's clothes, addresses the angel next to him with a mischievous tone in his voice.
Gabriel, or should I say, the entire Ayama Guild has moved the portal to the Asakusa region. Along with Azazel, with the 7 snakeheads, 14 faces, and 6 pair of wings.
Oh, the entire guild has moved to where the gurus are. Interesting. So it's a haven for them.
The guild has managed to escape destruction and continues there. Gabriel and the others may count that as a new home portal. I see, in that case, given my own deep connection with Lord Azazel. The transient named Zabania had come to Tokyo once before with a wish to save a certain someone. Having achieved much of what he set out to do, that should have been the end of it, but the Rulemakers had other plans for him.
Zabania is part of the mystery of what happened to the second wave of exceptions. Between Zabania and Ophion and, what's it called? There's one more. From the Berserkers, who are they? Oniwaka, that's it. They sort of disappeared after kissing with us, which, it seemed to be of their own wish to have returned. But, you know, it seems strange that they would be desummoned like that. At some point, it seems that's the only explanation. It seems that the setting of hierarchy to disperse those exceptions in Chapter 8 led to their dispersal. It wasn't the cause, but rather, in doing so, it led to whatever they wanted to do in Tokyo to be accomplished. Their wishes, so to say. Same thing for Wakantanka and Tangaroa, who eventually left because their wishes had been fulfilled. And that's why Ramu also left, because their wishes had left. I think they were gonna de-summon but got interrupted. Yeah, it seems that's what they're implying here with Zabani specifically. I don't know about Ophion and Onyoku, that's a bit of a mystery. Having achieved much of what he set out to do, that should have been the end of it, but the rule makers had other plans for him. I mean, how do you interrupt the de-summon? He'll like, disappear in front of us, unless like they surreptitiously took him before that could happen. Plans involving an infusion of Israel's memories into the vessel that he's become. Unlike with the invaders' attempts at assimilation, however, the wills of these two do not exactly merge into one. That's not the rule maker's way, after all. No, they much prefer ensnaring the victims' memories and exerting control over them through sheer force of hierarchy. That is different from assimilation in that case. Whereas, you know, Perrin and all that, even with Perrin, who is very much so about subjugating people, he still like infused himself into the others in order to, I guess, obtain their loyalty. But in this case, it seems this is not about obtaining loyalty or anything like that. It's about complete subjugation in a unilateral direction. The rule makers seem to have their hands full internally, so we may be able to make them work for us. That's why I've called you here. You're a kindred spirit. So let's not waste any more time, Michael! Ah, Corbiker. Something the matter? You seem upset. Of course I'm upset! You know exactly why! I dare say you've known for a long time, in fact. Or would you care to deny it? We still don't know who Babe was working with specifically. Two figures watch on as the very last vestiges of the world representatives of Wakantanka and disappear from Tokyo. Hi, Bigfoot! Let's Moose and Mosey back on over to our boss to give the lowdown on everything that's happened. If they don't work for the invaders, do they work for the rule makers? Babe Bunyan, transient from the world of the Great Spirit, an embodiment of that world's belief in frontier spirit of the Old West. And Bigfoot, another transient from the world of the Great Spirit who embodies that world's belief in the folklore of the Snowy Mountains. They're members of the invaders and agents, respectively. Oh, okay. They're actually members of the agents. I didn't know that. Yet when speaking of their boss, neither of them is referring to the world representative known as Wakantanka. Nor are they referring to A. Isaac, Guildmaster of the Invaders. This is a question that was sort of hand-waved until now. In this game, there are only two guides where it's permitted for one's membership to be kept secret, while still allowing for membership in another guild as well. That's true. Agents and invaders, that's certainly not possible unless you're an entertainer or a game master. One is the game masters, to which Alice belongs. And the other is the original guild, through which Leanne and she came to infiltrate Akihabara. The original guild? What do you mean by original guild? Well, at long last we meet. You're the rumored wielder of folklore, no? I've been looking all over for you. Maybe the first guild? In that sense, what they're talking about, I mean, they clearly showed the entertainers. So were the entertainers the predecessors of the game masters? Is that why, despite them not really having the same kind of administrative role, they also have, I guess, the same level of hierarchy as the game masters? That's interesting. So, oh, actually, I see a poor connection being established. Give me a moment. Red, yellow. I mean, I can't really do anything about this until I wait for it to get green. Okay, it's back at green. Sorry if this connection seems spotty for a second. I was observing it, I just noticed. But, yeah, I was just saying, it makes sense if you think about it, that it's called the game, as in something to enjoy, right? So I can believe that the Entertainers were the predecessors. Something about these drop frames. It would make sense if Oscar can temporarily assign roles and rules. I think I read something like that with regards to, what's it called? Loki's role in his research profile. Sorry if I'm cutting off. I don't know why, but it seems the internet's getting a bit spotty. So hopefully we can close this off sooner. But yeah, it makes sense that the Entertainers would be the first guild, not the Game Masters, just based on the game. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Agent 057, though you may call me Ose. Alright, it's getting spotty. Okay. Just let me know in chat if it's watchable. I see my connection is wavering up and down, so I'm gonna continue, but you let me know in chat if this is watchable or not so far. We're approaching the end, so hopefully we'll reach it. I look forward to to working with you, Guildmaster of the true Entertainers. Ose addresses the singular figure sitting in the theater. Yeah, just let me know if there's a connection issue right now. It's at green right now, so let's speed on. You, or rather the Entertainers, have really been pulling a lot of strings during recent events, haven't you? So much so that what you've pulled a few back loose in process. What were those two transients, Babe Bunyan and Bigfoot? So Bigfoot gave the information with regards to, what was it? Wakantanka's origin, and Babe was one who led us in directly to Wakantanka and Tangaroa in order to, I guess, speed up the process of the collision. But this apparently was just to make the game more entertaining, or the Entertainers role. And they're taking a more direct role in that case by having people infiltrate them? I don't understand this. Are they agents or are they Entertainers? It's very confusing. So much so that you pulled a few backs loose in process. What were those two transits, Babe Bunny and Bigfoot? You're the ones who set them in motion, though. Meaning, you directly intervened in the battle among the three true guilds. Oh, I understand. Don't get me wrong. You lot are responsible for keeping the game entertaining and interesting, after all. But is this not a matter of considerable concern for your higher-ups in the Tower of Babel? No, there's no need to be so guarded. There's really only one thing I want to know from you. It's about Loki, the sensationalist who ties my client to Run Deep. He is in the Cedar, isn't he? Okay, so this is the lead up to the next chapter. I've been searching for him for so long now. But won't you please just tell me if I can find him? Osei does have ties to the world of Yggdrasil, apparently. Which, you know, Loki would be from. But we knew that he had ties from there because of his partnership with Odin before. Or was it? I forget which, but it was in the Ryota's dungeon story. Where am I? Bigfoot's his agents and Entertainers. Babe is Invaders and Entertainers, no? Agents, Entertainers, Babe is Invaders and Entertainers, no? Bigfoot should be part of the Invaders too, as a reserve representative of Great Spirit. And Babe should also be part of Agents as well. At least that's what we're implying here. Well, I guess that's not necessarily true with Babe. I don't think he's ever been associated with the Agents directly. But Bigfoot Agents, yes, and Entertainers, I don't think so. So Bigfoot seems to be in all three. I don't know how to make sense of that. Because you're not allowed to lie to be in it unless what they're saying is if you're in the Entertainers, you can join more than just one other guild, but any guild that you want. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? That would be fitting for an agent. The Energy wakes up in what seems to be a sort of isolated underground room. Last thing I remember was in Asakusa and Saturday Gamora. It's at this point that she notes that she's still sleeping, still sleeping forms of Alice and Jumpavan next to her. Alice! Jumpavan! You're both okay? Sleep on the looks of it, but no words for where? But why? Wait, there's a letter here from Sanad Kamara. And she quickly opens the letter and reads it. Distance myself from the Entertainers? What? Oh. I mean, Sana was obviously betraying the Game Masters here, but he also seems to, despite trying to kill Leanne a second ago, it seems that he also has distrust for the guild she's in. So he might still be looking out for her own well-being in her own weird way. I'm sure Gnarly's an entertainer at first, missionary second thinking about it. Good question. I guess he is. Yeah, he is an entertainer, but I don't know. He still has some loyalties to missionary that's a bit weird with his willingness to ask what's called heel to Maria's sort of comments.
If you look at things from the other side, you may notice that to which you've been blind along. Even I could tell that the Invaders' plan was slapdash at best. Yet I couldn't help but get myself involved with it, particularly when compared with the alternative. And I came to the conclusion that you, my friend, need to be torn away from that loathsome guild as well.
The Loathsome Guild? But he's not part of the entertainers, he's just part of the creators.
Phew! Seems these particular invaders has finally cooled down.
Monsieur Leaked, might I ask you something?
What is it, Melusine?
Why was it necessary to be advised of the invaders' intersection by that man named Daikoku? I do not understand. I do understand that you sowed seeds of discord among their ranks, but why were you interested in what followed?
Ah, that's what we call post-war processing, Melusine.
Post-war processing?
Seems the invaders may not be down for the count just yet. We've amassed quite a debt of gratitude to repay.
The transient named Takumi Nakata has played the part of the defeated admirably, and through it, you may largely quell the chaos. Additionally, he managed to use himself as a shield to repel the countercurrent of rules from Taishaku's sacred artifact. This left Perrin to take the brunt of the attack, averting what should have been a decisive blow to the invaders as a whole.
With the plan being abruptly foiled, the worst case scenario would have been the world representatives turning upon one another.
Such a scenario seems particularly likely as well, given just how many players have been knocked out of the game this loop alone. And though they're all replaceable, it's unlikely any of that could take place until the next loop around. Additionally, and most notably, the ousted players do not include any of the 7 world representatives from the rulemakers of the East, giving them a distinct advantage. This is a number the other 2 guilds could only top by joining forces, which could very well have decided the game if it had occurred.
Add our players to the mix, and we'd have 8 to their 7.
8 to their 7. 8 to their 7. They only have 7? What are the representatives of each of the guild? They currently lost 4, if not 2. But presuming they lost 4, then that should include the representatives of Perrin and Temujin. Not even Shinya. So just Perrin and Temujin? Is there any more than that? Do they really not have any more world representatives? That's really harsh. So they have 2. That means Warmongers are implied to have 6 remaining after losing both what's called Tez and Balor. Well, I guess Balor was an incidental loss, so maybe that's 3 losses. Shiva and Balor and Tez. So the 6 remaining then is going to be, man, it's hard to keep track of. There's Tita and Marduk and Yoritomo. So that's 3 to the 2. There's still a missing count of 3, and I can't really decide who they are. Mephistopheles might be a world rep, actually. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I don't know. Masori thinks back to the message from Tanatomo Keno Inuzaka, brought to him by Yasuri Kopugu Inuta. Sources have advised that the South and West are no longer in conflict. So the invaders and the warmongers are no longer fighting. Ooh, Kirito with his new art.
I guess it's about time to change up the waterfront from here too. This sure has become a pain in the ass though.
Wait a second. We saw him briefly in the warmongers too at the very end. Just like skedaddle right after. Did he infiltrate the invaders too? He's joining guild after guild, and I don't know what his objective is. Is he part of the entertainers or game masters? Probably not, honestly, but I don't know. Kirito Tachihara has been quite thorough in his aversion to forming any lasting bonds, ensuring that he leaves not a single trace of his presence anywhere in society.
Nothing good comes from getting tied down to other people. I'm happy to keep my distance from that life.
After much digging, Kirito Tachihara has obtained the intel he needs in order to survive the coming ordeal. And based on that intel, there's no way he's in a guild if he's this isolating, at least not a long-standing guild. And based on that intel and his own intuition, every fiber of his being is telling him that he mustn't remain in this place any longer, or he could be in big, big trouble. I guess this is one way to get integral information about the war between the three guilds without direct participating in it, by kind of infiltrating the ranks and just acquiring information passively.
Well, here I thought you might still be in the hospital. Have you more or less healed then, General Blore?
Hey, he's here. I thought he ran.
You think flesh wounds like that can keep me down? Those were deeper than mere flesh wounds, and you suffered them from your entire body. Frankly, it's astounding you're here.
Seems like he just chills in guild until he knows what he needs to get away safely from problems. Yeah, he was able to infiltrate not just the invaders and what's called warmongers, but also briefly the genociders, as well as the berserkers. I don't think he's infiltrated the missionaries or the tycoons though. Although he did appear briefly in the tycoons chapter, maybe. I can't remember. I need to review those chapters. It's been a while, so maybe he's there and I just forgot.
Well, after Daikoku sold me out, I did find myself facing down someone who makes a habit of teasing giants.
The shadow attached to that wicked man had been keeping the Lore's freedom in check for some time. And as long as his bindings were present, the Lore could not escape.
Once my fetters were undone, however, I could finally show the world what I'm capable of. I dare not ask what happened after that to the poor soul who kept you in chains. Well, what I will ask, though, is why you would have chosen to come here to this fortress after you're freed over anywhere else.
With the Lore having been incarcerated at Penitentiary Academy for so long, it's a natural source of concern.
Well, see, despite being imprisoned, I've been keeping myself well informed on the status of the fight.
The Lore regains a bit of composure, looking more like a general as he continues, or perhaps looking more like a king.
As it stands, the Rulemaker's victory is practically assured, which should make these my dear grandchild's final days. But even putting that aside, I finally just can't help but wondering about a certain warrior's whereabouts.
Oniwaka? I don't know why I thought him. Oh, Avarka.
Huh? Coach? Where are we? After shaking off all the people chasing us, this is where we wound up.
The location in question happens to be under control of one of the three true guilds, specifically the Rulemakers of the East. It has one particular characteristic not found in any other location under the control of either the South or West. Gated communities where the various transits are separated and categorized on a ward-by-ward basis. Through this system, memories of the top-ranking transients are clearly and handedly separate from those transients below their stations. In this area in particular is where those who've displayed rebellious tendencies against the Rulemakers are corralled and kept at bay. Oh, have they been captured? Yet ironically, this may also make it one of the safest places in Tokyo. Segregation, yeah. Well, segregation would be if they're integrated but separate. This is more like, I don't know, keeping prisoners. The reason being, the warmongers and invaders should find themselves swallowed up by the rule makers very soon. And once that happens, animosity from the conquered players of the West and South are likely to be at their heights. Everywhere but here, in the presence of the like-minded. Hey, it's Husha. I have no idea how he sounds.
Halt! Who goes here? What business do you have at our portal? I'm Dalayavarka of the war, but I guess at this point, just Dalayavarka will do.
So he's renounced his thing, or at least he's not admitting it.
And this is, I take it, the poor world those of the Arakawa Guild. The Wanderers live in secret.
They live within, what's it called? The sequestered area of the rule makers. Really is quite wanderers.
That's right. I'm Kusha, not the very same. Just your average stray dog. Right. Well, you do me a solid then and look after this kid for me. I'm gonna go infiltrate that big-ass cathedral east of here. What?
Roga looks up the massive cathedral that towers over Shuo Ward, and for just a moment, a sense of pure anxiety cuts through the air. His main regret at this point is simply that he couldn't help the other students of the Yogi Academy escape the grip of the East. Have they all been captured? No, that's not it. Vogar seems to have brought, what's his face, Taurus Mask, not just from safety from the warmongers during their conflict with Shiva, but also safety from the entire thing, not just happened from the invaders. And now he seems to maybe have an idea of what might happen just because of the failure of Ymir's plan, which is the rule makers have an advantage. And he regrets not being able to take the rest of the students in the safe area too, before that happens. But at least he was able to lead this one solitary student, Daisuke Ikusaba, to safety. From the start, Yoyogi County and Chibi Ward was intended as an experimental site in which the social elite would educate local youths. Considered a lab of sorts, it's one of the newest to be founded among the endless loops, and the rule makers have tested various hypotheses upon its grounds. Well, this does explain why there seems to be a lot of, social unity among them, but not guild unity. The Yogis is uniquely, kind of like the Hakenshis, not strictly bound by guilds, and they seem to be quite disparate. And they often seem to be completely unaware of what's happening in the main quest. So, it tracks. I already read this. Within it, there's a man named Arsalan, worthy rival of the transients said to have been apprehended by the East, Dalai Varga. If Varga is ever to see his old rival again, it's now or never, before the rule makers' dastardly plans begin to unfurl. Hey, it's time for mentor rights. Because once those plans are put into action, free will in Tokyo is set to become a thing of the past. Free will in Tokyo is set. Okay. Oh, slavery area. Ugh. That is what complete subjugation would mean, though. There are 2 guilds wherein it's considered taboo to have any direct influence on the game in Tokyo. One of them being the Game Masters and the other being the Entertainers, Those belonging to these 2 guilds are forbidden from ever bringing any direct harm to any of the game's players. Additionally, they are also prohibited from lending any aid to any other guild that are considered to be directly involved with the game's progression. So, prohibited from interfering with the 3 true guilds. Of these 2 is the Game Masters, where Alice is active, and the other...
I knew it! I just knew it! The Yuriko Entertainers joined forces with the rule makers of the East, despite being part of the game's management.
And hence the title. It now makes sense why the chapter is a crossover of 2 guilds, because they're cooperating straight up. I mean, this one should have been the Kratos X Invaders, but we're knowing this ahead of time and such like. Besides, there's mostly Isaac, not the entire Kratos. And plus it's management. In a sense, no, definitely, the Entertainers is a step above the rule makers since management versus the participant. The guest rises from her seat and begins exiting the auditorium without a word. Did Christine shoot Jose? Jesus Christ. Stagehand, dancer, writer of urban legends, musician, and leading lady all rolled into one. Allow me to declare here, on behalf of the Yurokucho Guild, that we are to part ways with the Guildmasters. However, we are also to directly intervene in the game. Why, you ask? Well, simply put, it's the best way to ensure this production is every bit as exciting as it possibly can be. To take this stagnant, bland game and make it more interesting and involving than ever before. The plan was always to finally step in and take the reins when the time was right. At that point, the method would be to don the guise of the trophy and prance across the stage, spreading chaos and disorder among the cast. This has been the plan all along, and yet Christine has never once had any direct influence in the game. But all that has now changed. For it is here and now that the Yurokucho entertainers have declared their intentions to officially overturn the long-standing non-interference policy. This is interesting. We haven't seen such a significant change in, the structure of what we know since, chapter 8 to 9, where we learned that the game was rigged with all the loops and the Three Trickles are conniving with all their past memories. But going up to management is just, something we would expect not to have ever been broken. At least I'd never expected that. It's just, something as a moderator of some kind I would expect to be necessary always, but it seems they're taking a lot more personal. We'll have to see what the motivations are, though. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, I'm sorry to keep you all waiting. The Yurokucho entertainers shall now make our grand debut. Chapter 13, Invaders Undivine Destruction, End. The motivation is entertaining. I mean, yeah, that's the crux of it, but we need to know beyond that, like why they care more for entertainment than their own personal worlds or, whatever backstory they have. Beyond all infinity. Hey, I got some stones, although I can't get the other ones because it's still not translated. Hey, Jackie, welcome. Joining super late. Literally just finished the very last line of the very last part of the very last episode of Chapter 13. So I'm headed over to the guild right now to get my final thoughts. Just to confirm, actually, the next chapter is going to be Chapter 14, which is being rolled out right now, only in Japanese. It seems to take place in Kyoto Ward, and yeah, it's not translated. Elfo feature Toji! There you go. Maybe Joe will come back from nowhere. So we will now go to, not here, but our guild. Man, this is taking forever. Oh, man, my phone is really heating up. Jeez. Coding up from Housamo? Heating up from Housamo? Yeah, it's a pretty old model phone. Let's go ahead and switch music to something more appropriate for the next chapter since it did end off with that. Okay, so that is Chapter 13. Phenomenal. One of the main issues with that I've seen a lot of people have hinted at was Housamo keeps on adding plot twist after plot twist. Well, not plot twist, but rather plot threads that don't actually get completed. But I feel this one had dramatically addressed most of them and, didn't add as much. So I feel like we're getting a better understanding of things in general now. Between, what's it called? Daikoku's plot thread, we now know why he decided to betray the Warmongers. It's an entire plot related to him trying to regain his status as world representative. And man, well, we now know the Wakan's deals, the Mugen's deals. We still didn't get a full idea of how peacetime led to tragedy, but it seems that we've at least learned specifically how Wakan and Tanjiro ended up how they ended up being. Yeah, it's I'm just happy about the amount of closure we got between now we're seeing the Kenshi uniting with each other. We're seeing the interactions that Ryota had with the missionaries actually taking place. It was like I didn't mention it, but I was slightly annoyed, not in like a bad way, but more like I can't keep track of this kind of way, with like the end of chapter 11 when they decide to meet a bunch of people, and it was like, okay, I'm not gonna remember this, it's not being important, but you know, they all brought it up at once, and specifically because the invaders decided to show up and swoop in before the rulemakers could, breaking what was expected, and that's why we saw both Ryota and Tochi featured to some degree. So yeah, it was man, there's so many plot lines that have been resolved between the Gandharva thing. Now we have a connection with the Gurus, which is connected with Ryota, and her entire organization of tycoons and berserkers and missionaries are now expanded to include the what's called the Gurus as well. It seems our forces are expanding, and we might finally start having a chance of our own against. Well, maybe we should stop thinking of against Street Guilds. It seems a new threat has come up, which is management. I'm excited to see that, but excellent application of Ryota's ability for the exception to mutually heal each other, and I don't know, it's definitely shown, just like with how Kengo had his character development. Although I will say Kengo didn't actually specifically develop too much within chapter 11 in itself. It was mostly through the events shown before that point. But I'm very happy with Ryota and Kengo with where they're at right now. And I'm very happy, extremely happy, with their final integration of these event loops into the main story. Because so far it's just been kind of a speculative, yeah, there are events, so yeah, there's silhouettes, nothing that happens in these loops matter. But they do matter in their own way, and we're seeing that the world representatives have these memories from these previous loops, and it affects their motivations today, including how Tangaroa ended up became corrupted and sought to brought everything sunken deep to the sea, and how Wakantanka just wanted to love everything. We can see their origins and how it led up to that point. Yeah. I think we even saw some nice showcases of characters from the Warmongers we didn't get a good look at before, such as Naja and Yoritomo. They didn't get that much of showtime within their own chapters, which is bizarre. Yeah, that is it for this chapter and my thoughts. If you have any questions about it, feel free to drop them now. But I think I've been addressing them on my way perfectly fine. But yeah, thoughts aside, recaps aside, how did it compare to previous chapters? Chapter 12 almost felt like a complete distraction at that point, but it did seem to have some importance in the end with Leek's plan to fracture the world reps versus the guildmaster, which is nice. So I like how it's actually building onto each other now from the previous chapter, and I like how despite them having two-fold structure of 2 Warmongers chapters versus 2 Invaders chapters, they actually turned out quite differently. I mentioned this in passing before, but the Warmongers, it wasn't really all of the Warmongers. There's more like plan here that would lead up to this plan over here that's not related to that plan, such as, with Bircho kind of inciting Shiva to go there and meet up with Valor to his fight, but then in reality, it was so that he would meet up with us, so Mahakal would be there, and then this was Daikoku's plan, and then it went to Bircho's plan and to blow up the entire... There's a whole bunch of interconnected plans like that. And I thought it was going to go in that direction too with Chapter 12, since, it's like Fushi and Smoky God just took advantage of someone else's plans. But no, that's not where he went. It was largely everyone was on the same page for the invaders, and as a result, we got to face most of all of the invaders working together with each other, whether it was Masanori and Yoshito or it was Temujin and Perrin. It was nice to see Shinya escaping meme territory of Team Astros and doing nothing for all as they usually do in events and being, very corny. But yeah, it's nice to see that they ended up having a happy ending. Taishakutin ended up having a new great buddy, and Ulambader, what even happened to him? Well, he saved everyone, so he's cool. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with what's called Sanu Kamara. What exactly is he hinting at with the entertainers, and what exactly where Lianin's alliances lay by the next chapter as it rolls out? You think Entertainer is going to have some control null type? Very likely. I mean, the null was just introduced with Kirito for the chapter 14 prologue, but he's not part of it. However, there's that character, what are they called? They're not called Quark, but they're called Quantum, I believe. It's the female cat girl with cat bills and all that. If you've seen the Twitter posts from Life Wonders about them, they might be from either the Entertainers or the Rule Makers or something like that, and they might be in Null type. That's my guess, anyways. But we'll see the significance of it. In terms of the significance of Infinite type, it was not as clear as I was hoping, to be honest. Why do they have the Infinite types? Why do they have the Mugen attachment to them? In reality, they weren't really quite affected by infinite loops, not quite what I expected to be. But you can say that Wakantanka Mugen got his infinite loop because he has always been infinity from what's called being everything all at once. Whereas Tangaroa sort of got his moniker of Mugen just from experiencing like countless loops until what he treasured he ended up killing. So yeah, us. But yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough about this, so yeah, that's it for me. Look forward to some grinding, most likely, unless I don't feel like it. Not this weekend, but maybe next weekend, we'll see. And also look forward to the discussion stream. I'll be doing it before the very last weekend of the campaign, so that, there's a chance for the new mob to come out from chapter 14, and we can talk about that too. But until then, thank you all those who stayed and watched for all these episodes, and thank you for everyone who's here today. It was wonderful streaming for you. Had a fun time. Hope you guys enjoyed it too, and I will see you in the next stream or video. Take care, everyone. Love you. Bye.